What's up? What's going on? Q&A Sundays, we up in here. Q&A Sundays, baby. We're going to let the room fill up for a minute. Welcome to Q&A Sundays. All my loved ones, what's happening? Q&A Sundays. Q&A Sundays, what's happening with you? Get up in this joint. Hold on. We're going to get into it in a minute. James, ask that question in about 3 minutes, okay? Let the room fill up. Q&A Sundays. I got a special guest I'm bringing on today. Get up in this joint. Everybody, where you tapping in from? Put the city you're tapping in from. Hit that like button when you come up in here. Yeah, hit that Joe the Conqueror, my main man. What's happening? Darian, don't put the questions in yet. Let the room fill up. Ask that in about 3 minutes. Oh, it's not a question. You're making a statement. All right. All right. London in the house. Detroit. Colorado in the house. New York in the house. Memphis in the house. Yes. South Central Los Angeles. Florida in the house. Chicago up in here. Edmonton, Alberta. Yes, Canada, huh? Yeah, Dallas up in this joint. Philadelphia up in the house. Birmingham, Alabama. Frisco. North Philly, Denver, Atlanta. Yes, sir. Ohio up in this piece. My family from Ohio. LA. Raised in LA. Yeah, Divine P wanted to remind you to bring your whole mind. Jefferson in Vermont. West side of Chicago. Houston up in this piece. I could never miss Houston. Boston. Yes, sir. Bridgeport, Connecticut. Omaha, Nebraska up in this piece. Sacramento. We international up in here. I see we international up in this piece. We international, man. Phoenix up in here, man. Yeah, we international in this piece. Yeah. Spread this game around the world. Yeah, chill, we unstoppable. So look, before we get Knoxville, okay, I didn't see that, so I'm going to go ahead and shout you out. Before we get started, I got a guest that I want to bring on. The brother's a powerful young brother. His name is Ahlazar. He going to give you the full name, and the pronunciation and everything of it when I bring him on. But I saw the brother doing a video on sinful, and I recognized that he was a brother, an Israelite brother, Hebrew Israelite brother, and I looked at a few of his his videos, and I just felt that the brother was profound, young, fiery, profound brother. And I wanted to bring him on here and give him a different audience, this game audience. You feel me? So let me see if we pass 100. Yeah. So I'm about to bring Ahlazar up in here, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself properly. But on these Q&A Sundays, I'm gonna be having some guests certain times, bring certain guests in that can educate us on certain little topics and stuff. You know, remember, there's an old saying that I kind of agree with to this day, that no man is an island. You know, even though I passed police accountability, lead the country in police accountability, I did not do that by myself. I might have led the movement, but there was a lot of people that tapped in and supported, from the natives. Uh, 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 there's more native tribes in Washington than all of America. So if it wasn't for the natives, in particularly the Puyallup tribe, we wouldn't have got the job done. They were probably some of the greatest funders. Uh, I'm tapping out to Nick Handauer and his people, the billionaire up in here in Washington. Uh, the LGBT community tapped in. Just everybody. Disability rights helped. We just had so many different people from all over. We had about 21 different organizations that supported, right? So I'm in to bringing other people and allowing them to share their genius. I'm gonna say this one thing, then I'm gonna bring Alazar on. When people used to come to me when I was doing police accountability, they would say, "Man, I want to help you, man. What can I do?" And I would tell them, I don't know what you can do. What's your genius? And whatever your genius is, that's what you bring to the table. I don't want to put you somewhere where that's not where your expertise is, right? Whatever your expertise is, I want you to bring your expertise to the table so that we can flourish. And so everybody that was a part of De-Escalate Washington and Not This Time was bringing their own genius, because that's how I taught. And that's why I love Brother Alazar, because he gonna bring his own genius to the table, So with no further ado, I'm about to bring the brother on.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
What's happening with it, man?
Man, not too much, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you go ahead and introduce yourself, family.
Okay, all praises. Yeah, I'm a chief priest, AhlazarBanZlawya, but a lot of people know me as Guerrilla Hebrew. Leader of the Sakari Israelite camp. We originated on the West Coast, but now we all over. We international. Mexico, Puerto Rico, Netherlands, Canada. We all over the place now.
You international in this piece, huh, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm honored to have you on, man, and just partner with me today on this Q&A Sundays, man. Because people have a lot of questions, and between you and I, I'm sure we can get the job done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm honored to be here, brother. Appreciate it.
You want to shout out your page and all that? If people want to get in touch with you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So on all social medias, I'm a Guerrilla Hebrew, which is GRLA, and then the word Hebrew. That's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and then you could tap in with our YouTube, Sakari. That's SICARII. When you type that in, you're gonna see a whole bunch of pages and cities. We got brothers all over, putting this work in. Also, the second in command of my organization, Deacon. If you just type in Deacon Sakari, his pages will pop up, and you'll get a plethora of different YouTube channels and plenty of content. And also I've been venturing to, kind of diversify content. I know to some people, some of the Israelite content, street teachings and classes, it might be abrasive. So some people may not be ready for it. So I'm also venturing into kind of diversifying content, kind of doing more, things like this, just doing kind of more casual Q&As to help introduce people to the information, to the game, to the wisdom, at a slower, more palatable pace, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Can you unpack what you said a minute ago about it could be, you feel that people might feel that sometimes it can be abrasive. Can you unpack that for us?
Yeah, some people, and I understand it's when you see the demonstration, when you see how aggressive, or even if we're not being aggressive, sometimes you just perceive it as aggression. Because sometimes we out there talking very soft to people. A lot of times we're just having back and forth conversations. It's not yelling. That happens, but that's not even typically what happens. But to some people, when they see a bunch of brothers of color, Black and Latino men assembled in a militant structure, it's just already too much for them. Like, oh no, we got to stay away from that, right? So there's more casual things that I'm venturing to do that can introduce people on a softer level and kind of get people to understand. Okay, this is what they're talking about. And then brothers, they got a lot of information that's important. Let me tap up into that.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. Is there anything else you think that people might have had concerns with that you might want to address since we hollering right now?
I mean, yeah. So just overall, number one, people got to understand that, and I appreciate you for speaking on this as much as you do. We've been alienated from so much over the course of the last 500 years, collectively as a people. It's been stripped, stolen. We've been handed a new identity, new everything. So in understanding that, we have to understand it's important to understand where we come from, to comprehend where we come from. And I love that word comprehend so much. And that's when you understand the word comprehend, that's when you're able to understand the quote unquote game and how to apply it to any and all aspects of life, right? Because comprehend means to completely apprehend. So imagine if when the police lock you up, you're at their whatever they want to do to you, they can do to you. And that's what it means to comprehend something, to truly understand a concept is to completely apprehend it. So now it serves you in whatever way you so choose. It does what you want it to do. So any information that you get, you need to be able to do that. But what you need to first comprehend is who you are and where you came from, what your people fell from, right? Because that's going to dignify you and cause you to stand up in a way that nothing else can. Then from there, you acquire all the knowledge you can and you completely apprehend it and you use it to your advantage. You make it bend to your will, right? And that's really what we are teaching to our people. We're instructing our people on how to do that exactly so we can all rise up from that, right? Because this information is key. Scriptures say, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. That's why we're destroyed, because we don't have the knowledge. So we need to sit down, shut up, and get the knowledge. And I understand that if maybe you need the knowledge packaged in a certain way in order for you to receive it a little better. And that's why I'm endeavoring and venturing to do that as well.
So, what if I ask you this? I know the scripture as well. Our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. But what do you say if I would say the knowledge that we've been getting is the wrong knowledge?
Yeah,
Would I say
yeah.
what if I say that the country that we are in today gives knowledge, and somebody might say, "Well, I'm getting knowledge. They're teaching us,
I go to
right?
school.
Right, right." So how do
Yeah,
you?
that's
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the wrong knowledge, and you got to understand. Well, we got to take a look at the root and who's giving it to us, and that's why I always say, like, when so many of our people, sometimes people convolute, the scriptures in Christianity, right? That's something that we got to you have to disconnect, because the more you actually look at the scriptures and you look at Christianity, you see that those things are not the same thing, right? They might be telling you, oh, the Bible's, but there's so many things that they do that's not in there or that's contrary to the actual scripture. So you have to disconnect those things. So when we were introduced Christianity, well, who gave it to us? When did we, get evangelized into this religion? Oh, was it when we were also being conquered and enslaved, raped, robbed, murdered, pillaged? Oh, yeah. So then maybe we should question the validity of that, because look who gave it to us. So the same person that dispensed us that information centuries ago has now built educational institutions, and now they're dispensing this new information. But it's still the same culprit who's giving us the information. We always have to question it. And we always have to, scrutinize it. Now, some of the information could be on point, but it needs to scrutinize. And what's crazy is if you say it to somebody, or if I say it to somebody, the level of scrutiny we're going to be met with, the powers that be will never be met with that level of scrutiny. You see what I'm saying? So we have to go above and beyond sometimes with some of our people to prove points where all, the oppressor has to do, he just has to say it. He just said it, and that's what it is. If he wants to say the earth is 9 trillion years old tomorrow, he can get on the TV and put it in books, and nobody's going to question it. They're just going to say, oh, well, the earth is 9 trillion years old. They don't have to know any of the science that went behind it to come to the conclusion or anything. He just said it, and it just is. But that has to do with, the power structure. He's established himself in a way that makes people feel like that. But just because he said it does not make the information right. So we have to get knowledge, like you said. It just ain't the right knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Tony Ring has a question. I'm gonna put it up. Said, "What is your movement? What do you stand for? What are you going to die for? And what do you live for?" I essentially would like just to comprehend the nature of your character.
Yeah, beautiful question. So, what we stand for first and foremost is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And we stand for the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which And the Americas are identified and for the most part as Black people, Latino people, and Native Indian people, right? So that's what we stand for, right? We stand for that God, right, his only begotten son, who people call Jesus, whose name in the Hebrew is Yahushua. If y'all watch simple videos and content, he was always praying in the name of Yahushua, right? So his son being Yahushua, then his people. So the totality of Black and brown people in the Americas, that's what we stand for. Also other people abroad, but us being predominantly here in the Americas, and our audience being predominantly in the Americas, but not entirely. We focus on the scattering of the Israelites here to the Americas.
Mm-hmm. So, some people I've heard had questions before about how do you know? And let me just consequently say, a lot of the things that I'm asking you, I know, but I
Exactly,
know
exactly,
they don't know. Okay,
exactly.
so I want to pose questions like I know I've heard people ask before. How when some of the Israelite brothers are saying that Latinos, Blacks, and Natives are are the tribes? How do you know that?
Well, we take a look at first and foremost at biblical prophecy, right? So when we take a look at the scriptures and we know the ancient Israelites authored the scriptures, we take a look at the prophecy in there and we take a look at the description, right? Especially Deuteronomy 28 is a chief place to look at because it's very lengthy. From verse 15 to 68, there's a description of all the negative things that God is going to have happen to his people if they were in disobedience, right? And if we take a look at that laundry list of things, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, we have been the victim of all of those things. So I want to make something clear as well, because some people will go, well, bad things happen to everybody. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a very specific list of things from verse 15 to 68 in that chapter. All of those things have occurred to Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people separately and collectively, right? So that's part of how. Then we expand past that chapter and we go all throughout the Bible, and there's different prophetic indicators all throughout Scripture. But even if we put Scripture down and we go to the history, right? When we go to the history, there's various historical artifacts. You can check out books as far as West Africa goes on called The Hebrewisms of West Africa, The Africans That Wrote the Bible, also Revelation. Those three books detail how those tribes that contributed to the slave trade, that were taken into the slave trade, which we are descendants from, who were brought, here to, the United States and to the Caribbean, etc. All the Hebraic culture and customs and language that was continued over, that we brought into West Africa with us. On the flip side, the same thing exists for the indigenous peoples of the Americas. You can look
Hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you. Now, you guys know, bring your whole mind. We ain't talking about no broad shaking booties. We educated around here. Bring your whole mind. You know what I say all the time? Tap in. Let them portals be open so the Most High can bless you. Bring your whole mind. This is real what we're doing around here. Okay, brother, forgive me.
you good. That's a fact. You got to bring your whole mind. And I really love that saying, man. Bring your whole mind, because you got to really download this, because it's important. And people are not understanding. They're coming to you for this game, and they're not realizing that the game is a gift from God. The ability to apply this knowledge and this wisdom to any and all situation is a true gift from God. So the closer and the more in tune you get from God, the more game you're going to have, right? And some of y'all just want to have game for selfish gain, and that's not the reason. It's always supposed to be about upliftment. But back to it, on the flip side, the indigenous peoples of North, Central, and South America, you also can take a look at books like Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, A Star in the West, Peruvian Antiquities, things like that. And you'll see how the people from the U.S., the indigenous Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, all these indigenous tribes, how they have the same thing. And there's different Hebraic artifacts like the Bat Creek Stone, the Lost Lunar Stone, that these native people over here were speaking in the Hebrew language. And I like how you mentioned the Puyallup tribe, because I grew up with the Puyallup tribe in Tacoma, Washington. And that Puyallup tribe, I did a class in college at Pierce College, the Fort Steilacoom campus, and I did a class in college on the Pacific Northwest Indians. And I was bringing out this information on how they were Israelites. And I aced that class, predicated on the information about us being the Israelites and about the native Indians of the Northwest being Israelites, right? So this is actually peer-reviewed scholastic information. They try to keep it suppressed. They'll try to gainsay it, but at the end of the day, it meets the academic scrutiny. All these Hebraic artifacts that we have to prove that we are the Israelites.
Let me see what this guy is saying here. I don't think that Latino black people, Africans don't really deal with black people either. I just think that what you're talking about is another distraction for my people. Okay. You want to deal with that, or you want me to deal with it? I'll let you deal with it.
Yeah. So people say that. Here's the problem, though, brother. I love when people say that, because here's what I'm here to tell you: black people aren't with black people. Black people don't mess with black people. The average black person, whole goal is to get on and get the hell away from other black people. Right. So here's what you have to understand: that a lot of
Brother Alazar is speaking as a black man, so don't get it twisted. You know, he's speaking as a black man. He's a Haitian, right? You told me you were Haitian, right. So I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah. So exactly. So it's what we have to understand is, right, black people got problems. Latino people got problems. Continental African. I'm not even gonna get on the Africans. It is what it is. But just understanding there's internal issues within every tribe. See, this is what you have to understand. Israel, the nation of Israel, is broken down into tribes and kingdoms, right? So when we deal with the tribes and the kingdoms, when you're talking about black people, black Americans, that's a tribe. When you're talking about black people and now extended out to, you know, the Caribbean and things like that, that's a kingdom, right? The kingdom of Judah, which would be identified as black people. The Latinos and natives would be the kingdom of Israel, right? Those other tribes, those northern tribes, when you really start getting into it. So understanding this nation, the nation of Israel, the Israelites, split into two groups of people and stop messing with each other. That was damn near 3,000 years ago. So what you're saying is only a result of that, the disunity that we've been practicing for 3,000 years, and that allowed foreign powers to come and conquer us, right? So I'm gonna tell you something. Gorgeous Dre, he speaks on this. The incomparable Andre Taylor, he speaks of this. A remnant. All black people is not gonna get this, and it's unfortunate. All Latino people is not going to get this, and it's unfortunate. All Native Americans are not going to get this. It's unfortunate. What we need to focus on is the remnant. Those who are going to be like-minded, those who are going to move in righteousness, those who are going to do the right thing of these people, not the totality of everybody. We broadly give the information to everybody. It's on public platforms. We're doing this so everybody can get it, but only the remnant are going to get it. So focus on the remnant, brother.
That's what's up. So I've heard this many times before. Brothers say, man, why they be talking about, because I don't know, because I can't speak that was what you said or other people, but I know I've heard this before. Why they be yelling at white people on the streets and talking about they're gonna be our slaves and all this kind of stuff? Can you address that? Because I know that's what people be thinking about.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, you know, people love the sensationalism. So that's typically the minority of what happens on the streets. But that's all people want to see. People click on it, and people stigmatize us with that. And there's a level of that. People have to understand the frustration and the aggression that, of course, we have when we truly analyze the last 500 years of what our people have been subject to. It is angering, but there's different levels to this, and we have to understand it. When you get to different levels of this enlightenment through the Spirit of the Most High, you understand that this movement is not about that, right? That's a you know, we may express ourselves in that way sometimes, and that's understandable due to frustration, right? And it's better we do that than we start doing violence, because we're not about doing violence to anybody, right? But we're just utilizing our First Amendment to express how we feel about the last 500 years. But in truth, this movement is about so much more than that. This movement is about empowering our people through the Spirit and power of the Most High, and with the wisdom and knowledge of the Most High, and making us rise up as knowledgeable, righteous people. That's what this thing is truly about. And downloading this wisdom and this game from the Most High into our brains, and operating, living our lives. And you got to understand, when the more and more in tune I got with the Most High, and the more wisdom I got from the Most High, the more I walked around and operated myself with dignity and gave respect to everybody. Doesn't mean I have to like or love everybody, but I'm going to operate and I'm going to give respect. I'm going to treat everybody with the utmost respect at all times, because I understand how to carry myself, and I understand not doing that is not wisdom, not whatsoever, right? So even if you are deterred by things like that, understand that this movement is so much more than yelling at white people. So much more than yelling at white people. And
And
that's the minority of what we do.
that's real. I let me just say, man, no disrespect, because I would not minimize it. To me, it would be a minimizing to say that this is a movement. This is culture. This is you understanding your culture, who you are, what was taken from us. This is bigger than a movement. A movement is I wouldn't use those words, but I understand, but I wouldn't use those words because there's been a whole bunch of movements throughout this country. There's been this type of movement. This is bigger than that. This is culture. This is what was taken from us. This is culture includes how you think, what you grow up understanding as right and wrong, right? Just like this is an American culture, you guys. And American culture governs what is right and wrong. They make the laws. This is their culture. So we are reintroducing, because it's all timing, what was taken from us, right? Our culture. This is not something that's going to be a movement where it's going to end, right? Okay,
We
man.
need to stop moving.
Yeah, you feel what I'm saying? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So, you could say, remember when they such and such back then? Remember the Black Panther? Remember this? Remember that? But that ended. This will never end. This is a culture, right? A way of living, a way of thinking, a way of operating. From a youth, from a baby, you were born into it. All this what was taken from us. So we're getting back our culture. We're beginning to love our culture, what belongs to us, what's unique to us, instead of us lending ourselves to everybody else's culture. I always say, give them back their shit. Give them back the way they think. Give them back the way that they operate. Give them back what's valuable to them. Give them back their shit. That's how I say it.
Yeah, that's right though. You exactly right. It is a culture, and that's the most important part is the way you think, programming. And I tell brothers all the time, when you get off into these scriptures, it's supposed to teach you how to think, and the way you think, if you're able to optimize. I'm gonna tell you, it's so crazy. This week I was watching a video from Sinful, right? And I was kept asking the Most High, why do you have me watching this video? Because I'm very good at being able to extract all necessary information, typically, right? So if he was talking about the game or whatever, I was able to extract and take what I needed from that to apply it to whatever to my life. But this particular video, I just couldn't for the life of me understand what the hell am I gonna get from this one? I don't get it, right? And it was when the trick is in control, right?
Mm.
I'm like, man, what? I don't know why I'm just drawn to this video. Just yesterday, I understood why I was supposed to watch that. And I was able to utilize the information I obtained from that in a situation, right? Of course, not, with a trick in a hole or nothing like that, but I saw how to do it. So we have to understand that when you are thinking correctly, you're able to just extract and filter whatever information you need from anything. In the book of Proverbs, the Most High says, go and study the way of the ant, right? If something is small and insignificant as an ant is something you can extract information from and learn from, then we can extract information and learn from everything once we have our mind right. There's nothing that we can't learn something from. An inanimate object, a person, the wind blowing should be able to give us some information that we can use and better ourselves. So thinking right, once we're thinking right and in accordance with the scripture, accordance with the Most High, that's when we're really going to ascend a new height. So I love that you keyed in on that because it's a culture, and that culture dictates the way you think.
That's real. That's real. Listen, I'm gonna get a couple of questions in here and let you guys come on here. The link. I'm gonna put the link in the chat if you guys want to get up in here. You know what it is. There, you could ask anything. If you want to ask some gang related stuff, I'm here. If you want to ask something about spirituality, Alazar, we both here. Get up in here. Whatever you got, come up in here. This is Q&A Sunday. Hit that like button. If you're looking for a broad, if you're looking for all that, man, take your ass on down the road. You know, we ain't pressed for conversation or friendship around here. We're teaching people how to talk around here. Got a question? Come on. If it was abroad and here, oh, it would have been 50 people trying to get up in here. You know, I got a high expectation of our people, you know, and I'm not saying everybody because, you know, I'm definitely talking about what Alazar is saying is the remnant. You feel me? What's up, Helena? How you doing, dear? I'd be all right, sitting on Chrome if for the Hebrew, if not for the Hebrew Israelites. That's what's up. I'd still be low riding sitting on Chrome if it wasn't for the Hebrew Israelites. You could be a Hebrew Israelite, still be low riding sitting on Chrome. Don't minimize us.
Yeah, still get on that Chrome, man. You know,
Yeah,
man, I was out last night and brother just walked up to me. He said, man, he said, you don't understand, you changed my life, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know this brother from a can of paint. So it's, you know, it's beautiful that we Most High has given us these platforms and given us the ability to minister this to people, you know.
yeah, yeah. My thing is that listen, you got to become, as Paul said, as all people, so thereby you may reach some. You know, this is why I talk about the game because God brought me about the game for a reason. Now remember, when you thinking about that indoctrinated mind that you got, when you thinking about that mind you got, then you judging your people according to that mind. But the Most High is not looking like America looks. You know, you got to understand that America changes all the time. They say, okay, alcohol's wrong, and then they change it and they say, well, now it's right. They say, okay, weed is wrong. Okay, but now it's right. So you think the Most High is up there every time the United States decides to change something. The Most High said, oh, because America said it was right now. Okay, it's right now. Right? That ain't how the
Nope.
Most High is operating, man. You know? So you guys got to tap into your first original mind, and so you can understand how to view your people. I think I seen I remember a quote by Malcolm. He said you got to be careful because the media have you hating the oppressed and loving the oppressor. You feel me? And the only way that could happen is that indoctrinated, socialized mind that you have that you actually think is normal. That's you're gonna judge yourself because they judge you with that mind. They judge us with that mind. So if you in this country and we've been here for a long time being indoctrinated, now you think how you think is normal, right? So what does this culture think about black people? Well, they enslaved black people. They enslaved natives, you know. What do they think about them? They think they're less than. So if you're growing up with that mind, guess what? You're gonna think less than of yourself and of your people. So of course you're gonna look at your people like they look at your people because you got their mind. But I don't got their mind, so I look at my people a lot different. So if I see you in the hood and you know you selling some drugs or you pimping or whatever they feel that vice, no matter how bad it is, I'm definitely not looking like this people look because I'm already understanding that the Most High said, "Listen, you're going to be taken to this foreign country for 400 years. This is the conditions that's going to happen. So why would I be shocked? Whatever the conditions are, He's already blanketed and said that this is the condition. So out of this condition, there can be anything up underneath that. So I'm not looking at you like this culture is looking at you. I'm looking at you like the Most High is looking at you. This is why I can go into areas where everybody else with that indoctrinated mind is looking at as people as evil and people is wrong and people are bad. And I'm seeing the direct opposite. Boy, that's the remnant. That's the people. That's my folks. You feel me? So
That's
you
right.
understand that, you know, the way you looking and you viewing and the feeling you have and why we could kill each other like that, it's easy to understand when you operating with the mind that have killed, enslaved, fed our babies to alligators. That's the mind that's in you. So it's going to be easy for you to kill somebody with that mind. It's damn near impossible for me to kill somebody that looked like me with my mind. Impossible. The only way that'll happen, it has to be some defense if somebody was coming to harm my family, harm my mom, you know, my children, my wife, or something like that. Then that's a difference. But as far as me being premeditated, that don't even go anywhere in this mind because it's an original mind. I got love for us. I see us with beauty. Even though we might be in some of them entrapments that the Most High said this country will take us into, right? So you got to be careful how you judging and looking at your foe.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Go ahead, man.
You know, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because, like you said, when you see your people, you're supposed to understand the disposition that we in automatically. So when we see our people, and that's the beautiful thing, you know, about amongst the Israelite community, they talk about the Sakari, us particularly, like, you know, we the thugs of the Israelite community. You know what I'm saying? Because we all come from that. We all come from the streets. We all come from gang banging and, brothers in the game and things like that, especially the leadership of the organization. We all come from that type of thing. But through that, we understand. You know what I'm saying? So when I see you, I'm not judging you. I'm telling you that we stopped, and we changed our life and gave our life to the Most High. So you came too. Trust me, if we did it, you can do it. Like Paul said in his epistle to Timothy, he said, the Most High took the worst sinner in me and, converted me so I can be an example for why you can do it. Because when you think about Paul, think about how wicked Paul was. He wasn't just killing people. He was attacking specifically the followers of the Messiah and killing them. And the Most High said, all right, let me get him. I'm gonna just get him, and because what's worse than that? Somebody who just kills people who's following the Lord. You know what I mean? So in that, if he can convert him, who can't be converted? That's the true question, right? Nothing you're doing is too bad. No lifestyle, no deeds that you did are too great for the redemption of the Most High, right? Point blank, period. So we look at our people how we supposed to, and understand we're in a fallen state right now, and we're trying to stand back up, and we're here to help you stand back up with the wisdom and instructions of the Most High.
So let me go inside of that, right? Because when I talk to you guys, I want to go inside of certain things where we can get. There's a surface level to all things in life, and then there's a depth to it, right? And so let me give it some depth. Let me give it some real depth. Brother Alazar said that we all changed our life, right? This is tricky. I want you to understand this, you guys. This is a very, very tricky thing, right? Because I don't want you to take on a characteristic, the same type of characteristic that we have from this country setting up what they feel right and wrong is. And so we walk around when we're born as the bad guy. We walk around when we're coming up, as we are the people that, are the bad people in this country, right? We're the violent, we're the bad, and all this, right? And so what's tricky about it is you have to be careful that when we're talking about changing our life, that this is not an appeasement to the system's way of looking at you. Be careful. This has nothing. You have to eliminate the mindset that your behavior or your quote unquote change is to line up to be a good citizen, right? This is not about being a good citizen, because the Most High has a different look upon what a good citizen is as far as this country is concerned versus what a son is as far as what he's concerned, right? So when I had talked to the University of Washington, a lot of professors over there, I had a meeting, it's on Facebook, and I was telling them that I didn't change my life because I'm trying to appease white people. This had nothing to do with making them pat me on the head like, oh man, you did a good job and all this. You see, because you will lose power if that's your reasoning. You're ceding power to the system because you're trying to live up to what with their evil selves, and I say evil on the history of what they've done to people. So you're trying to live up to them to accept you. You're ceding power. This is not about them, right? When you begin to change your life, what it really means is you are starting to have your original mind back. And when that original mind comes back, it is a natural transition from getting out of who you were yesterday with that mind that you were taught to have, right? Coming into your original mind, because what that original mind does is it begins to have you value the things that the Most High values, right? And so then that shifting is about value. It's not about living up to anybody else. So that's why I say it's tricky. We got to be careful that you're not ceding power to get approval from this system. You want to maintain a sense of power, right? It's about having your own mind, your own culture, your own identity to what's valuable to the Most High and to you. Nothing to do with them. Why I told those professors I didn't change my life because of the system. I changed my life because of my people. This is about my people. My people is controlling my change, not this system. You feel me? So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And even when we really analyze our changes, like you said, coming from whatever background we come from, we the Most High actually had us acquire knowledge, wisdom, understanding, skill in from that we're taking the exact same thing that we were equipped with, and we're just shifting where we're directing it to, because now we value ourselves and our people, right? So now instead of using it for the detriment, we're now shifting it. Boom, we're using it for the empowerment, for the building up of our people.
Exactly. Because the motivation is not predicated upon your approval from the system, right? It's predicated on your love of getting your original mind back, your love of your original culture. So everything is predicated, right? The scripture says that faith which worketh by love, because the Most High speaks a lot about faith and faith, but he said which worketh by love. And so the predicate is not on your acceptance, you being accepted by white people. The predicate is the love that you begin to have, right? For your own people, for your own identity. And so that's what gives you the drive, right? So they don't get, it's like, I always say that, and I love Obama, right? But I always say that the system says that that's our boy. Obama's our boy. Well, what do you mean, Dre? Well, because we educated Obama. He went to Harvard, he went to Columbia, and that's our boy. So there's a credit that the system gets, right? So I'm trying to say that they don't get no credit, right, for you coming back home. It has nothing to do with them, right? And that's where the power. That's where the shifting of power comes from. Because everything that we do in this country today, the predicate is being approved by the system, right? When you're music, you're an actor, you want to get a Grammy, you want to get an Academy Award, everything is predicated upon I want to be valued. I want the system to say, good job, right? But when you get your mind back, that means nothing to you anymore. You have a different predicate. There are different things that motivate you and different things that move you. Remember, I think this was last week on last week's Q&A, and I was explaining about my relationship with love and how when I was in my worst case scenario in prison, how she showed up for me. Like she went to every visiting, kept money on my books. Uh, in my worst case scenario, love showed up for me, right? And I elevated that. That became a fundamental to me. I elevated that dedication to me above anything, above sex, above a broad twerking, above a broad trying to give me some money, right? But if I didn't have my original mind, right, the mind that Alazar and I are trying to tell you to get back, that wouldn't have been my predicate. Because most guys today, especially our people, their predicate of value is sex, right? In the game, their predicate of value is how much money a broad could give you, right? But that's so minute, so nothing in comparison to what Dove did for me. And I elevated that as a fundamental. Okay, we got somebody on Alazar. Welcome, bro. What's going on?
How y'all doing, brothers? Hey,
we doing well, loved one. What's your question,
I had a
loved
question
one?
for the Hebrew.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
What's going on, bro?
When you see those clips of the other Hebrew Israelites talking aggressive and speaking facts, really out there, push like that, separate yourself from that.
You echoing, we can't hear you because you echoing. Your voice is like delaying. We can't hear what you're saying. Can you hear him, Alzar?
Now,
it's delayed. Somebody said probably his Bluetooth off.
Yeah.
That's better. Yeah. I thought it was.
Okay. Yeah, what I was saying was, when you see those guys out speaking the truth, nevertheless, but pushing the line, making women cry, put their head down. Feel that tactic is necessary. How do you approach people on the street out there as well?
I think I get the gist of what you're saying. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily disassociate myself from that, and it's not that I'm not liable to do that sometimes as well. I go as however I move, so I treat each individual differently. Like yesterday, I'm gonna tell you. So yesterday we was here in Atlanta. I'm outside of the Future concert. We talking to our people. Our people are running to get to Future, knowing damn well Future ain't gonna go on till probably 11 o'clock. It's 6:45, but a white family style. So I looked at the white family. I said, "Hey man, how y'all doing?" She said, "Oh, we're all right." I said, "Where y'all from?" "Oh, we from Florida." I said, "What y'all in Atlanta for?" She said, "Oh, we going to the Stranger Things experience." I said, "I went to the Stranger Things experience. It's y'all are gonna have a great time. What's y'all religious background?" She tells me, boom, we start to have a little bit of a back and forth, totally respectful, even when it ended, and me telling them the truth. That yes, that Messiah that you're talking about, who you call Jesus, your name Yahushua, he shed his blood for his people, not for nobody else. But guess what? Enjoy your time in Atlanta. Have fun at the Stranger Things. Tomorrow, your kids, they're going to love it. Right? So I can break them off like that. Or if they come with their passive aggressive nature sometimes, their microaggressions, I can meet them with real aggression. It all depends. There's no one way to skin a cat, so everything kind of depends on the situation always.
Right. I appreciate that. You to that nature, how do you feel about misled, and even in today's time, so-called conscious African Americans are preaching this conscious line, but it's really more bad to them when you really get to know them, because they don't break down what they pushing. But I see both sides of a situation in their respect, and my thing to you is that once
bro, we can't really hear you, man. You keep echoing, and the people can't really hear you. So I think you need to try to get a better connection or something and tap back in, family.
Yeah, I tell you what,
can't hear you, family. I'm sorry.
Hope he comes back because he has some good questions, man. Hope he gets that straight.
Yeah, but I get the gist of it. Let me tap in a little bit to answer the question of the brother, man. I've had some concerns, about some of my brothers and the way that they operate. But let me just say this to you guys. The scripture said that people have a zeal, but not according to knowledge, right? Especially when you first getting into the realization of who you are. You be so fired up, man. You just want to go tell the world. You want to take such a stand, man, against what anybody is saying. You thinking about all, like Alazar said earlier, man, all that you had gone through, all the deceptions and the pain and the hurt. And when you start tapping back into who you are, man, it's just something that's so fiery. So a lot of times what you guys are seeing is zeal, right? So I ultimately know that when people begin to grow in their Israel, hold on, family, because I know you got some good questions. Hold on. When you begin to grow, you develop wisdom and how to conduct yourself, especially in certain audience and certain crowds. See, like me, um, when I'm operating with a person, and I think brother was asking about the conscious movement, there's a lot of people out there talking about a lot of things. And you guys know I always talk about receipts, because the Most High says that signs and wonders will follow the message. You feel me? And so a lot of times while you guys come and you join my classrooms from OnlyFans to YouTube to, IG, you feel valuable. It's not just my information. The fact that you've been able to see what my information has been able to do. It's the receipts. And then I tell you how I was able to do what I've done, what the Most High did for me because of my position and my disposition, that he taught me before him, right? So I often say what a lot of people out there talking, just bring your receipts to the table because I'm not about to go back and forth with anybody. What have you produced, right? Have your information changed your community? Has it changed your city? Has it changed your state, right? Because I'm able to bring the receipts. So I'm not about to have no, a battle back and forth with you and all this. It's not necessary for me. It's really beneath me because the Most High is going to continue to move in my life, and that will be the evidence. Paul said this thing wasn't done in a corner. Paul said, I didn't come with enticing man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the spirit of power, man. You feel me? So when the Most High brought me up, you know, when I tell you guys often that the Most High is spoken to me in dreams, well, that's something very abnormal to this culture and to this culture's mind. But within our culture, within your original mind, it's something very normal because the Lord says that if there is a prophet amongst you, I myself will make myself known to him in a vision and I will speak to him in a dream. That is not supposed to be something that's abnormal, right? And so the Most High first appeared to me at 16. And from then on, do you understand? So and I told you guys he gave me the prophecy about COVID, and I put that in my book 15, 20 years before COVID happened, and you guys know in my book about the prophecy. And I know people was like, man, this man kind of weird, but you guys seen it manifest just like, and I told you 15 years ahead of time. Right? So that's the receipts. It ain't even about trying to go back and forth. They could have what they want to have. I'm only here for the remnant anyway. I'm not even worried about that. I'm here for the remnant, right? My sheep know my voice and another they will not follow is what the scriptures say. So if they can't get it, then keep it pushing, partner. We're not pressed. See, this is not no Christian stuff where I'm over there trying to twist your arm and all that to come and be involved. It's value over here. Once you understand the value, it's like if somebody say, man, look, man, I got this rack over here for you. Matter of fact, I got $1 million over here for you. Man, you'll cross bridges, swim with alligators. You're going to do anything you want to do, man, to come get that money. Well, that's how I present the Most High, right? And when I present the Most High, it looks good to you. And you say, I want to tap into what Drake got. You feel me? And then when I represent it in every area of my life, from my relationship, been married almost 25 years, to the results, of conquering this system and defeating this system, and I come back and tell you, this is the Most High's doing, right? And I tell you why, because I've aligned myself, right? So that's what we on. They could have all that shit out there, man. It's about, we serve the God that answers by fire, period. Now, if they want to bring some competition, like they try to bring it to Elijah, y'all that know these scriptures, well, then come bring it on. Come bring it on, man. Hold on, man. My loved one, Israel. What's happening with you, man?
What's going on, Molo? Hey, man.
Sometimes me, always you, man.
Hey, man, this is a treat when players meet, man. And more importantly, this is a treat when players greet, man. Ain't too many of us left, man, on the scene, baby.
Man.
How you doing, my brother? Salazar?
Yeah, Alazar, man. Good to meet you, brother. Shalom.
Hey, my main man. Listen, I just kind of tuned in, and I was listening to a little bit about I guess the Hebrew brothers that are out on the streets that are kind of pushing the line and I guess hollering at white people and kind of being aggressive, right? I got introduced to the culture in 1985, right? And penitentiary, right? And like, I think that there are different levels of understanding that people have, and people function from that particular level of understanding, right? That's one level of understanding. I don't knock it, because in the streets you don't knock nobody else hustle, you don't knock what nobody do. But I think that as it relates to exemplifying the characteristics of the Most High, it's not in what you say, it's in what you do, right? It's in what you manifest. It's in how you are able to, as Drake say, to have receipts to conquer systems, right? And I think that a lot of the brothers that are functioning at that level, they're doing it because deep down inside of their soul, they don't believe that they can manifest things of a magnanimous nature outside of that, what they're doing there. You follow what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It's like a lot of people in the cultural community, they use culture and the black man this, and the white man, he's inferior, but they use that as a means to justify their own inferior state of mind in lieu of them even being inside of information that is supposed to put them in a rulership position. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm walking with you 100%.
And
I agree.
I give you an example, right? Like when you look at Europeans, right? Europeans, they don't go about talking, they go about conquering. They do the very thing that we say that the Most High put us here to do, to rule. They rule, but they do it through thought. They do it through action. They do it through planning. They do it through execution. And I think that, and they have think tanks where they get together, they come up with ideas, and they bounce them back and forth and they implement them. And I was on here last week and I was telling Dre, I'm here in Chicago, and this is happening across the United States. We don't have institutions. They have Harvard, they have Yale, they have Princeton, they have think tanks, right? So I think that we do too much talking and we don't do enough execution, right? We don't put our strength and our talents together to build and let the building be the proof of the manifestation of the Most High, as opposed to the talk that we're doing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you fully. And like you said, some brothers, man, they're just kind of there with it. Like, that's all they can conceptualize kind of sometimes. And it's unfortunate, but we have to have these conversations to help facilitate that growth, and that elevation, that development of brothers, because they got to understand there's a different level to it. Like I said, when I was 17, that's when I first was introduced to this information, right? That was the first time I ever heard about gator bait, like the brother Dre mentioned. So I remember the first time I heard about gator bait, how upset I was. I had to stop the video and just broke down and cried for one. Now I'm mad as hell. So now when I first get out there to the streets and I'm doing my thing, oh, you damn right, I'm giving these people hell because I'm mad as hell about this. You know what I'm saying? But then through ascending in the spirit and really delving into this and really grasping the essence. And the beautiful thing about the Most High and how infinite He is, as soon as you think you got it figured out, no, that was just a level. There's a whole nother level to this too. You got to get to next, right? So, but you learn this thing in levels and the stages, like you referenced. So when brothers really get up into these higher levels, you start to realize, nah, we got to build something, right? So when I look at, like, when we talk about what are we doing for community, if I can say, well, my camp in LA got a Hoover and a 60 standing next to each other, right? And with one goal and one cause to positively uplift the people, right? When I say my group in San Francisco got a Norteños and Serranos standing next to each other, right? For one cause. When I say I got a group, they got an essay from Compton, they got Crip Killer tattooed on his arm that takes orders from a Crip. When I say in Chicago, I got a Mo and a GD that's standing on the line together. You see what I'm saying? When I got all that, and I can say I have that happening, who are actively on a weekly basis dedicated to community outreach. Here's the receipts. So that's what's more important than being upset about what they did, is what we can do to build and fortify and better ourselves.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I got a question for you, Dre. This is game related, right? This is in reference to something you said when you was young. You was in California, and you was walking by the I think it's the house of the jump.
Hold on, Israel. Somebody said that YouTube is up too loud on the background. I don't know who that is. So, okay. If you guys YouTube is up too loud in the background, I don't know who that is. So just check your YouTubes, because I know you might be on at the same time. All right, go ahead, Israel. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and
Joe, we get right.
You mentioned you was walking by the house of Bijan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you hear me, Dre?
I got you.
And you said they had a sign up that said by appointment only, right? Mm-hmm. And you said you took that and you kind of internalized that in the game, right? Mm-hmm. Like a sense of exclusivity about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted you to kind of expound on that and how, that particular concept can be used by men, by brothers, to be able to take them, because in order for you to get to the Most High, right, on a high level, right, to reach that level, as you mentioned, where you can have dreams and visions, and the Most High can actually guide you, you have to come from a lower level, and you have to become exclusive. You have to have value on it, and you just can't let anybody or anything, be it a woman, a man, or whoever, come into your space, because no, this is by appointment only, because I'm an exclusive person, because I'm representing the Most High. So could you kind of expound on that, how the game and that lesson can be transferred into the spiritual.
Absolutely. Flocks, we get right to you. Thank you for your patience, loved one. So you guys always know I like going deep inside of things. So when I seen that, I was working for Neiman Marcus at the time, and so I was on my lunch break, and I seen this, and I had already been establishing relationship with some of the people that had boutiques out there. Daventar's was a boutique out there, and a lady named Claudie spoke 7 different languages, and I had a relationship with her. I'm going somewhere with this, and just starting to learn because I wanted to. While I was in that environment, I was learning. I was taking in the information about how wealthy people thought, what they read, what their mannerisms were. I was taking in all that information. And then when I saw by appointment only, I was like, man, this is incredible because I was thinking about the inside of what that really meant, right? The game in that, which is all just knowledge. My father said, game is knowledge with a flair. And I was thinking about, man, that's so heavy, man. And that everything breaks down into value, man. And that I came up with a value video that's probably one of my most popular videos. That's where Kevin Samuels and a lot of guys got this value from because I started talking about it maybe 17 years ago. It's, I think the first video was 15, 17 years ago. And I was like, man, this is heavy, man. And I was thinking, came up with that concept that man, I could have $100,000 in my pocket and I couldn't even get into this damn store. And I was like, man, that is so profound, man. Just that thinking, and then it started making me realize that wealthy people pay for that exclusive feeling. The person in that store realizes that it don't matter what you got on the outside. They are paying for that feeling that they get from people looking into that store, knowing that just because you are walking by, you can't come into that store. That's what they pay for. They pay for that feeling of exclusivity, that the average person does not have access to this. And so I took that, and when I got into the game a few years later, I used that because I began to tell the females that was with me that it's a value game, that everything in life breaks down to value. I think about in sales, I thought about when I was thinking about sales and when I used to work for this company, I'm going somewhere. You guys bring your whole mind, called Silver King. And I was 19 years old and I ended up owning the company. They used to sell these industrial vacuum cleaners that you could pick up stuff from a shop or from your house or from anything, and back then they charged $2,300 for this machine, and so I was like, God dang, man! If you went to somebody's door and you said that you told them, listen, this back I got this thing for sale. And they say, well, how much is it? $2,300. They'll down there slam the door in your face. You don't get the fuck up. Excuse me. Get the hell up off my property. To a vacuum cleaner. So then I start learning about presentation, about building value, because I said everything breaks down to value, building value, right? And so they tell you about this presentation. So you go in there and you offer a free presentation that you're willing to vacuum up their floors and their couches and all that, because you're giving them this presentation. Now, in this presentation box that you have, you show them this pamphlet of this Kirby. And this Kirby, $7,000. And the Kirby is like the Rolls Royce of vacuum cleaners. And you like, man, you know the Kirby? Everybody knows the Kirby. Yeah, I know the Kirby. The Kirby can do this, 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 and this, right? And so you say, can I give a demonstration? So you show them all the things that this Silver King can do. And then you say, can you go get a tall glass of water? You're about to show them what a Kirby can't do. And they go to get a tall glass of water, and you take this connection instrument from that Silver King, and you suck that water up. And then you have this metal ball, big metal ball about this big and about this round, right? And it's heavy. You said, feel this. And they feel that. Oh, man, that's heavy. Yeah. And then you take that attachment. It sucks that damn metal ball up. And they're like, wow. And you say, yeah. And so now you do a demonstration. And when you do this demonstration, you have this white pad, this clear white pad that you put over. So when you suck and cleaning their couches up, they can see all the dust on this white paper that this thing done sucked up all these dust mites and all this shit. And they looking at this shit and they was like, wow. And then you remind them of the Kirby. And then you say, how much do you think this costs? $15,000. $8,000. Because the Kirby's $7,000. And then you say, no, it's only $2,300. What? You got yourself a sale. But what did you do? You built value, right? So the Bijan thing was all building value. So when I got into the game, and in every area of my life I utilize it, but in the game, I used to tell the female, I said, now listen, we're going to play Vegas now. I said, in Vegas, there's professional tricks, right? When you go in there, you say $1,000 an hour. I said, but you don't just say $1,000 an hour. When you talk to them, because I'm teaching her to build value, when you talk to them, you tell them, well, how much would it be to spend some time with you? You say, it's only $1,000. I said, it's important that you say that. I said, because when you say it's only $1,000 and you say it so nonchalantly, he's under the impression that you get this all the time. This ain't nothing to you. Oh, it's only $1,000. I said, now he might make a counter offer. Well, would you take 600? You tell him, well, and you touch him gently and you have class, no attitude. Mister, I'm sure that there's a lot of people around here, a lot of girls that would love to take your $600. But when you're ready to see me for the $1,000, I'll be around. You have a beautiful evening and you walk away. I said, and if he says, wait, we got his ass. He's a done deal. Because there's a few things that done happen here. See, I'm saying it, but everybody's seeing the surface, but I'm going to dig you inside. What's up, Dove? That's the wife. So what's going on here is a few things that are happening here, because this is, now you done gotten to the inside of his mind, right? What's happening is once he knows this is not a female that plays around with money. The money is beneath her, right? So now when he says wait, he understands the type of value that he has in front of him, right? And now we'll never have no problems for money, because he knows that she's willing to walk away so easily, but it wasn't even offensive to her. She said, you have a wonderful evening and I'll see you around, right? So it was important how you conducted yourself, that you were convincing in the role, right? We was able to get like $80,000 out of this guy, So of course, when you're utilizing all this information about everything breaks down into value. And so that's why when I talk about manhood, and I directly link manhood to the Most High, because the Most High, the first thing he said is, I created man. But that's surface. He didn't just create any kind of man, right? Because see, when you become 18 years old, you think you a man. That's what the country tells you. That's the worst thing that could ever happen to our people. Because there was a time that there were requirements, things that you had to pass, things that you had to possess in order for you to be said man. So I always say a man is not a gender, it is a position. And this position requires things from you that you have to have. And if you do not have these things, then I don't care how old you are, you could never be considered a man. If you don't go slay the lion, you can't be a man, right? So there's something that you have to exhibit in order for you to enter into manhood. You can't just be 18, right? That was one of the biggest problems that have happened to our people, if we don't give our males a requirement of manhood. And when you don't give men a requirement, black men need to be held accountable, because without accountability, you cannot bring out greatness. They need to be held accountable. They need to, just like I hold you guys accountable, right? You can't show up any kind of way to me, because I'll say going down the line, there's a whole bunch of people out there. You see the value game? There's a whole bunch of people out there that would love for you to go over there, give me your money and give all that. Your money's not that important to you. Your manhood is more important to me than your money. Just like the little broad said, there's a lot of people out here that would love to have your $600, but you know, when you're ready to see me, I'll be around. Have a wonderful evening. You see what I'm saying? So it impacts every area of her life, right? So the beautiful thing about where I'm at right now, see, because I didn't come up in a Hebrew Israelite camp. I came up the Most High taught me, right? So there are some things that I know that I will be able to impart to those brothers, my brothers, right? Polish. There's some polish, right? Our polish, not their polish, not the system's polish, our polish, right? There is a place where, see, when I was doing police accountability and I was in those meetings that they don't allow our people to get into, they wouldn't allow me, right? I didn't ask, we broke the door down because I knew how to build power, right? So in those meetings, there was a healthy reverence for me. Reverence is fear, right? Because the powerful people in the meeting said that you are a mystery to us. See, that's something that's very common amongst our people biblically. When Elijah went to the town, the elders were shaking reverence, right? For the man, right? The same reverence they had for me here, from the governor on down, right? That is supposed to be something common amongst our people. A common thing, not an abnormal thing, very common, right? I'm not doing anything extraordinary because I could see those characteristics in the line of biblical men. That's nothing. It's something very, very average. Now, to this system, it's extraordinary, and that's why we will easily conquer them. You see what I'm saying? That's why.
Right.
Because once you tap into what's common and normal to you within your culture, that common and normal to you makes you a little God, and ye are gods, little g, in the world, which makes it so much easier for us to conquer the world. And we will. We will get back into our rightful place, right? So I know, which is why I wanted Alazar, because I respect him. I love who he is. I love him. I love all my brothers, right? But I know there's some things that we will be able to share, and I need to be able to share because there's some things. You think about 5,000, the way that I teach, 5,000 like that, the way that I teach, right? The way that it's been taught me. Do you see how easy it would be for just 5,000 to conquer the world?
Absolutely.
Because that's what I'm not about getting along. I'm about conquering. I come here to conquer. I say it all the time. I'm not afraid to say it, right? The Most High told me, and then I'm Israel, because you one of my favorite people in the world, but they're gonna be mad at me if I don't bring somebody on. But let me just say
Now
this.
go
Let me just say this. And then flocks, I'm coming to you. Why Most High said to me in a dream, you will not stop until every single one of your enemies sees underneath the bottom of the soles of your feet. But let me see that surface, but let me tell you what he's really saying. What he's saying to me, and what has been reflected already. Anybody that presents themselves as an enemy to me, right? The prophecy, the sentence will be what he said. You will not stop until every single one of your enemies sees underneath the bottom of the soles of your feet. I don't have to do that. I just have to walk in it, right?
Yes, sir.
So anybody who positions himself as an enemy against me, the Lord has already prophesied, and that's a sentence. That's what's going to happen. And that has what happened, right?
Right.
That is what has happened. I came up here to Seattle, and whatever that was, all of them meant the same fate underneath the feet.
Yeah. And
right?
you know, and I'm gonna get off, Dre, but that's the point that you just made is what my introduction to Salazar is. That's what you say. You came up there and you conquered, right? So there's evidence that the Most High is with you.
Exactly.
Right? It's not through the words, it's the actions, and it's through the refinement. So there's a certain level of refinement that brothers that are out with the bullhorns have to go through, and they have to come under the tutelage of somebody with some game that has the receipts in order to bring them to that level.
Yeah. Well, and everything is timing, because
Yes, sir.
as equal as I will benefit from our relationship with Alazar, I will
Yes.
benefit and he will benefit, and we will grow what the Most High has given us. They got no idea what's about to happen. Alazar and I, we know, but boy, they
Yeah.
about to get the business, partner.
Ain't no doubt about it. Hey, man, I'm gone, man. I love you. I'm gonna let the other brother get in.
No,
I see you.
okay.
Yeah, I see you've been waiting. Peace and love, Alazar. Drake, peace.
All right,
Peace,
man.
brother. Come on.
What's
Flock,
up,
you a
fam?
patient man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, boy. I'm
I kept
proud of
losing
you.
connection, come in and out. So
Yeah,
my
go
bad.
ahead.
Yeah, so I had it. Well, first I wanted to acknowledge. You might not remember, but it was probably 3 or 4 years ago. You helped me interpret.
You had a consultation.
Yeah, but I had a dream though that you helped me interpret
Okay.
through scripture, and I'll skip most of those details. But that interpretation, it's been like I had that dream when I was 16, and you didn't give me interpretation until I was like 22, 23, right? And it made total sense. And then I look back on my life, I was like, that's been fulfilled every time, right?
Wow.
That is just so impactful, right? When you know that God walks with you and you know your identity, and to have, for example, this group here that you guys talking to us, pouring in us, is so important. So I just want to commend y'all, you know what I mean? And thank you guys, because it does shape our life, right? And then my question I want to get into, which I've had the hardest time with, is how do you guys personally confirm the name of the Messiah, right? When you call out to the Messiah, like is it Bereshai, Yeshua?
Yes, sir.
How to be able to confirm that for myself, you know what I'm saying? So also too, I'd like to know how I can figure more, before I forget, more about the San Francisco branch. But we'll tackle those separately.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it goes back to, like Dre said, going back to the original mind. If we take the language back all the way original, where a lot of confusion comes in is over the course of time, they start adding these marks and start telling us, well, this mark, it makes this sound and this mark. But when we go all the way back, there's no marks. There's just the pictograph, the letters. So, where we deduce is from the original, that's all that's reflected. So we just use only that's originally reflected to come to the conclusions, So that's how we do that. But as for the SF branch, the San Francisco, I think they're in the chat. I think Brother Ayash is in the chat, so he can let you know where they at. I believe they're on like 15th or 16th in
Mission at the bar station.
Yeah, Mission, exactly. They up over there. Man, you sure them listen, man, them is solid brothers out there. From around the Bay in Northern California, man. And they definitely can get you together, man, for sure.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you.
Love you, Flock.
Sure, brother.
Love you. Talk soon.
One. Hold on. What's going on? What happened, Israel? I thought you was gone.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I didn't disconnect. I'm sorry, Dre.
What? You all right? Little JJ, what's up, family?
What's going on?
You on? What's going on?
All good, all good. Calling you right straight from Germany.
What's up?
Shout out to you, man.
That's what's up. Love. What's your question?
Man, you know what? I'm not a native English speaker, but I'm trying to. I'm watching all your contents, like it. You know what? I'll fuck with it though.
That's love. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in to Germany, man. From Germany. Thank you for that.
Yeah. I got a question for you.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I was in a relationship and I broke up with her, and now I'm single. So I'll go to this place where, you know what, you do your little thing, play soccer, basketball, tennis, and everything. But then you know what? I see a lot of girls be trying to me, aggressively. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. What's all that? And then you know what? I said, I asked one of my friends, I said, what's up with all these things? And he said, like, yeah, they probably want to talk to you and all these things. I said, nah, they don't want to talk to me. That's on some disrespect. If they want to talk, they would be like, you know what? There will be some, you know what? Come a little Andre Gorgeous. I mean, I'm used to just,
Uh,
you know what, talking to girls like unless, you know, but we smile, but that shit is kind of like a bit weird, you know, walking towards your path
mhm.
aggressively.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that it
What do you
must be
think?
it must be something in your demeanor, right? In your disposition as a
Hmm.
person, that they're attracted to.
Yeah.
Because have you ever heard of anything called magnetism? You've heard of magnetism before?
I think, yeah. I heard
Magnetism
about it.
means
Yeah.
something that draws somebody. It's something that draws you in, right? They say that,
Yes.
you know, that Tupac had magnetism, something that just draws you. Certain actors have magnetism, right? So you are
True.
exhibiting magnetism. It's nothing out of the ordinary, right? That a lot of guys want to have magnetism, right? But there's something in
Yeah.
you that is exhibiting magnetism that draws people to you. So you should not take that as something out of the ordinary. You could use that,
Mm.
as an advantage to yourself. That's a good thing to have is magnetism. So just say hello, how are you? That's
Okay.
all. And just take it from there.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's kind of weird. Like they don't even smile. I be minding my business, walking in the line. You know, we switch and they start like aggressively like coming towards me without smiling. You know,
But
I'm like,
JJ,
whoa, and I
JJ,
step to the
it's
side
not
and I
about
just, yeah, yeah,
JJ. It's not about them, it's about who you are. Anytime you make something about
yeah,
somebody else, you cede power to them, right? So you say they don't even smile. Well, guess
yeah.
what? Why don't you smile? It ain't about them. Who are you? Who you gonna be? Are you gonna be who you are? And are who you are predicated upon what they do or what they don't do? It's not about what they do and not about what they don't do. It's about who you are. Who are you? And whoever you are, that's what you show up to be, regardless of who they are. I've said this before with
Yes,
one of
sir.
my
Yes, sir.
one of my classes. When a person comes to me and tells me, "Man, Dre, man, I would have done anything for my girlfriend if she would have did this, and this." And then I always tell them, "Don't ever say that to me, man." They be like, "Well, what you tripping off of, Dre?" I say, because in essence, what you saying is that in order for you to be a man, you need her to be a woman. Your manhood ain't predicated upon what the broad do or what
True.
she don't do. You got to show up and be who you are, period. Right? So if that happens to you
Yes, sir.
again, don't be worried about what they're doing. Who are you? That's who you show. If she ain't
Yes, sir.
smiling, you smile. You hear me?
Yes,
You
sir.
okay, JJ, man. All the love in the world for you. Thank you for calling in, for tapping in from Germany. And we'll talk to you soon,
Yes,
okay?
sir.
All right, one. Okay,
Shout
one
out
more.
Germany, but it's beautiful how the Most High uh is utilizes this YouTube platform to get this message on a global level. And these people don't realize that Psalm 23 is say what I prepared. There's a table prepared for me in the sight of my enemies. They don't even realize what's going on. The table's being prepared in front of everybody. They don't even see it.
That's what's up. Yeah. Okay. The link is in the chat if you want to tap in with two kings around here. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's such a I'm just excited to see, you know, uh how the Lord, continually builds. I'm just excited to tap in with your family. I mean, for real, man. It is an honor, man, to tap in with you, man. I'm excited, man. When you coming back home?
I'm not sure. I'm gonna be if you. I'm gonna be in LA in about a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
In about a
I
week
go
and
to
a half,
LA. Yeah.
but if not, I'm looking to come back up. You know, sometime this year. I didn't go in 2020. I ain't been back since 2021.
Really?
And then yeah, just
Wow.
2020. And I was there in 2020. But we got the brothers, on Fourth and Pine downtown. You talked to
Right.
them. This is a few years ago
Mm-hmm.
when you talked to them.
Mm-hmm.
So brother wanted definitely me to tell you shalom from him.
Shalom.
But multi will I'll make it. I want to start at least doing a trip every year because I didn't go back. I moved back to California in 2011, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come back for like 7, 8 years almost.
Wow.
You
Wow.
know, so I was gone for a long time. I miss it. I love it. It's nothing. When we come from up there, it's nothing like them evergreen trees, man. Every time I fly into that SeaTac and I see them trees, I start feeling euphoria. Like, it's
Yeah.
no place like home. And a lot of people, they put me in the Cali category because, I spent half my life there and kind of came, high school and all that. I did there. But, at heart, at the root, man, I'm Tacoma, Washington, man. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
am.
Yeah, man. Me too, man. I was born in Seattle, raised in L.A., so I took the best from both places. You know,
Exactly.
I could tell you what I like um about Pacific Northwest is that it's always been a real grounded place. What I dislike about it is I don't like rain. I would have never came back here had they not killed my little brother. I just can't. We tropical people, man, and I just need that good
Mhm.
vitamin D. Most people in this area of our people suffer from vitamin D. The lack of vitamin D, and I just can't do it. And the way that I move and have moved, um, because some of the lack of culture that has been here. See, it was different back when I was growing up, and when my dad was coming up here. It was an international destination that people would come to from all over the world. It was a real high game present place back in the day, and it was a lot of culture. There's a lot of things going on, man, and it's just not the same now. I got love for a lot of people up here. I can tell you that. But when I first came back home in 2016, I didn't get the support. I just didn't. I just didn't get the support because they didn't understand how I was moving. Because of course, if you got that indoctrinated mind, the first thing it makes you feel that there's what things you can do and things you can't do. So the way I move, it made people make I guess it made them feel like I was cocky, right? But if I was in a white man's skin, they would expect me to move like that. They'd celebrate me. But
Mhm.
you can't do that, boy. know, you ain't supposed to do that. You know, yeah. But no, I'm supposed to do that first, and we did it first. So it's just I really don't go nowhere when I get back here when I'm here. But I'm all around too, like you guys, man. And what I'm going to be doing is bring back conversations with the streets, because that was a big thing, because I like getting quote unquote black leaders together from around the country. From we brought Nuri Muhammad up here. I mean, then we brought uh you know um Umar, we brought Riza. I mean, I brought everybody. I brought Tariqa Mallory, and so I want to get that going around the country again, man. And I think that'd be, I finished my assignment up here. The Most High is releasing me. I finished my assignment. The job is done. The mark has been made. So I'm ready to, go handle my business. We got to go dig in and go get our people. You know what's up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That
Yeah.
that's what made my moves, and even so I moved from Tacoma to Southern California when I was about 12. I bounced around a little bit, kind of went back here and there, um, but I moved back fully at 19, and that's why I actually got involved in the ministry and going into the
Mm,
streets. After just 6 months, the Most High revealed to me I had to go back to California.
mm,
So then that trajectory helped build the organization I had because I was with another organization at that time. That trajectory got me out of there and helped me to cultivate my own and build it into what it is now through the spirit of the Most High. And then, I understood when it was time to leave California and come down south. And I lived in
mm.
Dallas for a year and I built a strong camp in Dallas. My brothers are rocking and rolling in that Dallas area now. Then I came out here to Atlanta, but I knew that once I got to Atlanta, this is where I was going to meet my full potential out
Mm.
here, because I'm doing this work, but also I'm diversifying, I'm expanding, I'm meeting different individuals, you know what I mean? And I'm able to minister to them and assist them and things of that nature. So the understanding assignment, and when an assignment is complete, is so important, you know, and being able to move on, because this is all about really serving the Most High. That's
Yeah.
what this is all about. Serving the Most High. So he's the boss. If he said, "Hey, job's done over there. I need you over here now. You better go over there and get
Yeah.
that next job done, man." You know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah, that's what's up, man. So what do you think is the most significant thing? What do you think is the most significant thing that the Most High wants from us, runs from His people? What do you think is
Man,
the thing?
this takes me back to another eternal classic of Sinful to P I watched this week. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he just wants us to obey. He
Mm-hmm.
just he when you, that word Torah, right? People use that word Torah, and when you literally look up the definition of Torah, it means instructions. Just follow my, I'm telling y'all, if y'all just follow these instructions, you would be the greatest people ever. And we already are, but it would be manifested. It would be realized if we just followed instruction. So that's the most important thing. Just follow the instructions, man.
Mm-hmm.
That manual is there. He has preserved it through different mechanisms over the annals of time for us to take from it, learn how to think, come back to our whole original minds and function and operate. That's the most important thing.
That's what's up. Hold on, let's get this guy on. Oh, with my guy Joe Bless. What's up with it, man?
What's going on?
Love, man, love. What's happening?
Not much. Just wanted to call in for a second and give honor to both of you gentlemen.
Yeah, back at you. Honor back at you,
Appreciate
fam.
you, brother.
Appreciate the gentleman on the panel. I have a cousin that was an Israelite, and I was hearing the original Jews were us back then. This is back in the 90s. I thought he was crazy at first, and I understand what the people were talking about. How violent the Israelites were or how they appeared. And I used to remember them. I would see them on the street where I'm at, yelling and screaming at people when they walk by. But in reality, they ain't put their hand on nobody. So apparently they wasn't that violent unless somebody got crazy with them. Because I never saw them do anything except, just stand strong. Even looking at this here, looking at the screen, the brother here, you can see in his face that he will tear you down quick if it came to it. He ain't even got to say it easy. Well mannered, well spoken, but you can tell that lion is there. But yeah, I just want to thank you guys and also say that when I heard again about the original Hebrews or whatever, came from Dre. So once I heard it again and the way Dre, the way you articulate everything, like, well, there might be some truth to this. And the way they're trying to shut people down every time they say anything about it, Kyrie Irving, is like there got to be a reason why they're going through all this hell and all of these putting us through all these hoops to try to silence you. So long live you, brothers. I appreciate y'all. I'm rolling with y'all.
Love,
So I
fam.
just have nothing but respect.
Appreciate you, King.
Love you for that, family.
Right.
One. So let me say, you know, let me just say this to you guys, and a lot of you guys that are in the class and you've heard me speak before, my reasoning behind my disposition, like Brother Jobless said, you could see the lion in him, right? Uh, um, and that's cool, but the lion is an inside thing, right? It's an inside thing. See, one thing that I learned, is that have allowed me to maneuver, even when I was in the game, is that no one ever seen me coming, right? because my exterior was not as they suppose a lion would be, right? So when I was in the game, you know, a person felt like a person in the game was a guy that had this, you know, colorful clothes on and walked around with a cane and all this type of thing. That was never me and was never gonna be me, right? I didn't want to walk down the street and then white folks and all these people say, "Oh, mama, there goes the pimp." You would never see me coming, right? Because remember, I told you when I was in Beverly Hills and even how I was raised that, you know, it was important for me to learn the behavior, the mannerisms until I was undetected, right? So I believed in camouflage and my strengths. They couldn't prepare for your strength. If they know your strength, they can prepare for your strength. Thanks, James, for that $5. But it was important for me to camouflage my strengths. Even when I dealt with police accountability, they kept trying to see this pimp, but they had an idea of what that looks like and they could never see him. No matter what, they were trying to fit me into this box of this pimp, man. They just kept saying like, man, this guy. And so again, that allowed me to, you know, to easily maneuver because they couldn't put me into what they had conceived and perceived this character is supposed to be. So when I was growing up, I never put energy into the tough guy. Never. Because I had seen how this country had defeated all tough guys. Like the tough guy didn't appeal to me. But that system, I was like, you know, let me go learn about these people because these square people is running the world. And so I didn't put energy in pushing this hard line like I'm tough and I'm hard and I'm down and I'll kill a cat and that stuff because I knew what the truth was. And the truth was is that these people done defeated our people in every capacity. And so I felt like that's something that I needed to invest my information. I needed to invest trying to dig in and to understand this, right? And which is why I came up, chill, I'll get with you in a minute, which is why I came up with that statement that the strong control the weak, but the wise control the strong, right? So I don't want you guys to get into this idea that our community supports, that our community honors and elevates is this tough guy image, all hip hop and all that. But you see, that shit ain't nothing because one of these hip hop stars get into some trouble and you see what this system does, right? That shit ain't nothing. All that tough guy stuff, all that, I am not impressed that this system done humbled everybody. It humbled pimps, it humbled dope boys, it humbled gangsters, it humbled hustlers. That shit don't mean nothing, right? You got to defeat these people here, man. This is what means something. If you're going to make your investment, do you see, I never had that tough guy stuff, but you ain't seen nobody conquer this system the way that I have. I didn't invest in this tough guy stuff because I already know that I got to defeat these people here. And not just here, that's just one way. The ultimate way is why I asked Alazar the question, what did he feel, you know, what the Most High expects of us most? And that was obedience. I would say submission, kind of like the same, right? So what I have my greatest expertise in is my ability to submit. There's nothing that I do more every day of my life, right? Is to submit. I will submit under any circumstance, no matter if it doesn't feel good to me, I'm going to submit to the Most High. I'm better at that than anything else in my life. I'm going to submit, right? Now, that submitting might not look like the world views what submitting is, right? So the scripture says that Moses was the meekest man upon the face of the earth. Now, this indoctrinated mind, that socialized mind, has a different idea of what they might consider meek to be. God didn't say that the world thought that. He said that Moses, as far as God was concerned, was the meekest man upon the face of the earth. So the Most High had an idea of what meek was, right? And that he was the meekest upon the face of the earth. So then that would let me know, let me investigate what God's idea of meek is. Because if you go into scripture with an indoctrinated mind that most of us had, right? Then your idea about something that the Most High is saying is going to come from that indoctrination, and it's going to be totally different from how the Most High meant it. You see how you can get tricked up so easily, right? So the world will have you that this meek person is going around like this. Yes, yes, like he don't lift his head, and yeah, that is how the world will have you think it. So what do you know the story of Moses? Huh? That the scripture said that he left all the wealth because he was the grandson of the Pharaoh. He had access to all the wealth, all the broads, right? All the houses, all the jewelry, right? And Moses left that in 2 ticks, right? To get his own mind back, to get his original culture back, to get his original mind back. Well, that made him meek. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how ultimately different their concept and perspective of something is? And if you keep coming at, when you try to read, you try to understand things, but you understanding up out of that indoctrinated mind, that's why churches are bound and they don't have no power, because they're reading, interpreting from an indoctrinated mind, right? From how this country perceives something to be, how this country values certain things. So everything is coming from that perspective, and you're really not getting the truth of it. What made Moses meek? I just explained to you what made him meek in God's eye. And that's what God considered meek. That's powerful, ain't it?
Yeah, and you got to think about it, because how is he meek according to that definition if he went to a sovereign leader, a pharaoh, and demanded the liberation of his people?
Yes, sir.
Hey, can you let us go, maybe? Nah, let my people go, or this getting ready to happen.
It's consequence. That's real. That's beautiful, man. So the whole thing is I'm trying to show you the destruction of self because of that mind that's in you. That mind that you really think is normal. Now, you remember I told you, for all of you that you've been here before, you be in my classes and stuff, but for you that are not here, and I keep saying to you that the mind you have is not your original mind. That is your secondary mind. And I said, I'm going to prove it to you, because when they brought us here, some of us were here before, but I'm talking about the tribe of Judah that Deuteronomy 28 talks about, right? When they brought us here, 1619, 1619, right? That you thought a different way. You felt a different way. You had different values. You had a different mind. That same mind that millions of us, they say, jumped off that ship, because with that mind, they felt that, listen, I'd rather die right here than go anywhere and be anything other than what I am. That's how much they valued that mind. That's how much they valued that culture. That's how much they valued their own identity. That I'd rather just get up out of here instead of me being taken anywhere. So when they brought us here, they took your mind. They took what was valuable to you. They took from you your culture, your language, how you thought, what made you move, what motivated you. That was taken from you. Any connection to anything, that was taken from you, right? And so remember I said, for the first 15 years, a lot of us probably died, because we were not going to accept what they said that we were. But after 30, 40, and 50 years, when our people were born in the condition of that you are a slave, that you are less than, and if you run away from this, you're a criminal. So then a lot of us begin to feel, man, we're criminals if we run away, right? So then after all this conditioning of hundreds of years with that mind that was never yours, to the point that today, most of us operate in a mind that was given to us that's not our original mind. All right?
And if I could say this too on that, that's where these terms come from. African American, Latino, Hispanic, even Creole. Like, so literally that term Creole, where it was first applied, is these are the slaves that were born in slavery versus the ones we just imported. These were born in it. So that's where the French first started applying that term Creole. That lets you know something about this person in their mentality. He's born, it's just like a gorilla or a lion that's born in captivity versus one that was captured in the wild. and brought into captivity, the way they think, the way they operate, their acclamation to this system, right? Their familiarity with it, their acceptance of the system is all different because that's all this one knows, right? So even now they call certain people, like in Mexico, for example, they'll call some indigenous and some Latino, but the indigenous and the Latino can have the same exact genetic makeup, but one has assimilated into the influence of Latin culture. The other is maintaining their indigenous culture before that was imposed upon them, the Spanish language, the Catholic religion, etc. So even in the terminology, they've labeled us and classified us as unoriginal mind and original mind anyway. So what we're saying is not anything new, not anything that's overtly, it's all obvious. You just got to recognize it and then move accordingly and come back to your original mind.
That's beautiful. Brother Chill, thank you for your patience, loved one. You on. Brother Chill, you on, family. You on.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, man. All the stuff I learned.
You got a little delay. Your voice is delayed.
I've been listening to you. My script, so I don't know if it's. Oh, my voice is bad.
Yeah, you got a delay. You got to turn off your Bluetooth or something.
Still delayed.
Go ahead and try. Let me hear you. I think you're still delayed.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Turn off your Bluetooth and come back in, because I think the Bluetooth makes you be delayed. Let me see if we can hear you. Yeah, he got to come back. Yeah. But that was powerful. So it's a beautiful time because nothing can stop what's going on because it's already been prophesied. You know, nothing can stop it. Let me see what Dove is saying. A carnal mind can get up if they make the choice to believe. We were all in our carnal mind before we chose to believe. That's right, baby. A carnal mind can get up if they make the choice to believe. We were all in our carnal mind before we chose to believe. Yes, that's absolutely right, Dove. That's right. Dre, I left a $5 tip for question. You ain't got to leave a tip for question. You can just leave a tip because you support. But go ahead. James, what's your question, family? But I appreciate you. Bring the question back. Let me hear what you had to say. I didn't see it. Okay, James, what's your question, loved one? We're going to try to knock it out. Okay, if somebody wants to come on up in here, man. I thank God that Brother Alazar has given us his time today. You know the man busy out there, man. Coming in here blessing your socks off. You better get it while you can. You got any things coming up that you want to share or that we should be aware of, fam?
I ain't gonna spoil too much. I'm just gonna say, man,
don't spoil it.
you know, just look for me, man. You're gonna be seeing this face, man. Familiarize yourself with this face. You know, make sure you tapping in again on the social, GRLA Hebrew on the socials. We got a lot going on, man. In 2023, the Most High got it on my spirit to just take this thing into overdrive, man. That's what it's about.
Okay, James, Dove came out the room and told me that your question was, what does it mean that faith worketh by love? That's your question. You want to tackle it? You want me to tackle it? Because this is...
I want to hear you minister on that.
Okay, so look. So when the Most High, I see you, Chill. I'll get with you in a minute. When the Most High start dealing with me at a very young age, right? The first thing I realized that he wanted me to know that he was real and that I'm with you, right? That was important. It was imperative at a young age for him to let me know that he was real Not that I didn't know it, but this was something different, right? That he was real and that I'm with you. The first thing the Most High ever appeared to me and said, appearances are different than anything. It's different than like just having a dream or just having a regular vision. An appearance is when God, and it's something that's very common, again, amongst our people biblically. The scripture says that God appeared to Abraham in a dream, that God appeared to Solomon in a dream. It's a different thing because it's God himself speaking to you. You don't have to interpret it. It's not a vision that you have to interpret something. It's not a dream. It is the Most High speaking to you in the dream, right? And whatever he says, the moment he says it to you, it becomes more important than anything in the universe because nothing can alter it, right? So if you are fortunate enough to hear the Lord speak to you, appear to you, and speak to you in a dream, that what he gives you is more important than anything in life. It's just that true, right? So the first thing he said to me at 16 is, I'll be the only one on your right hand. Everyone else will be on your left. That's the first thing he said to me. And my understanding, knowing what just happened to me, made me feel incredibly loved, right? And that love, by him letting me know that he was with me, that he was real, and that he had appeared to me, made me trust him. So it was easy for me to have faith and believe in him because my love, his love for me first, and then my love for him by showing me how much he loved me. Faith which worketh by love. So it allowed me to be in situations and not feel that, which is why I came up with the statement, situations come in your life. What you realize is when you are back with the Most High, that they never come to destroy you. Never. They come for two things, for you to conquer or for you to learn something through. But they never come to destroy you. But I got that understanding is because in the beginning, right, his appearance to me allowed me to understand how much I was loved by him, right? And it allowed me to be in situations, right, and be able to believe him through it because I know he loved me, right? Even though I might not have understood the situations, even though they might have caused me pain, right? I knew that God loves me, and I knew that they didn't come to destroy me, but it came for me to conquer it or for me to learn something through. But it was the catalyst was the love relationship that we shared, right? Faith which worketh by love. Makes a little bit more sense. So that's why it's so important for you to develop relationship, right? And not relationship with a foreign mind. Relationship with an original mind. Because if you have relationship with a foreign mind, I've explained this to you guys before, it is like my son. And my son has a friend. I love my son. I love my son's friend too, through my son. But my son can come to me, and when my son comes to me, there are certain things that are eliminated. What's eliminated? My son knows I love him. He doesn't even come to me feeling, he don't even have the thought that my dad's not going to be there for me. He knows beyond a shadow of a doubt. If I got an issue, my dad coming, partner. You can believe that. My dad, he's coming. But his friend don't got that confidence. His friend don't have that belief. He might come and ask me, but it's with trepidation. My son comes boldly before me. Do you understand? That's the danger of that foreign mind, that stranger's mentality. The fact that they've made you believe that you are a Gentile, that you are a stranger, makes you come before your God with trepidation. Like my son's friend would come to me. You're not supposed to come to your God like that. You're supposed to come like my son comes to me. The scripture says, come boldly to the throne of grace. Why? Because you know that your dad loves you and you don't even think about those certain things that a stranger would. Do you understand how that works? Faith with worketh by love. My son has faith when he comes to me because he knows if my dad is capable, there's nothing that my dad won't do for me. That's faith, isn't it? That's what that means.
Yeah, and that's just to elaborate even further on that. I remember I was taking world religion up in college, and I remember the teacher, she said, the way, especially when you read like the prophet Jeremiah, Lamentations, you know, which means crying. He's crying. He's almost, he's like, Lord, why are you allowing this to happen? This happened, that happened. Why? What in the hell? You know, she said a Muslim would never imagine talking to God like how the Israelites in the Old Testament talked to God. But because the Israelites were talking to their father.
That's beautiful.
And the Muslims, they wasn't. It's a different relationship. You know what I mean? So that's a tremendous point that you're making.
Man. So let me get Chill and see if Chill could Chill, you better, man? You on? Let me see. Let me hear. You on, Chill? You still got the same problem, man. Your stuff is all
what he just said, man, when he was like the Muslim. Damn.
You got to turn off. You got to turn.
I just have to get a new service, man. I ain't gonna. But what he said, if you catch me, I turned the Bluetooth off.
Go ahead.
But if you could catch me, but like what he said about what the what he said about how the Muslims would never talk to their God like the Hebrews God would. See, and that's what I was calling Dre, because like me and my wife, we watch you on Mondays and Fridays. Like I'm signed up for that. And like I believe in the first man and everything. And I believe in dominion and, you know, lining up in alignment under God and doing what God is and doing what God wants you to do. But so I thank you, Dre, because you helped me get a lot of that too, man. And like I say, me and my wife, we watch you on Mondays and Fridays when you do your thing. I got you even on Instagram too. But you know, I don't think you can be able to answer the question. But like the same faith that you got and the same principles and everything that you got, it's a guy named Rap Brown, Jamil Alameen, that's locked up in prison. And to me, you know, he's a Remnant member. He's just like the Remnant in his submission that he has to God. And I be asking myself, like, why don't this man just tell God to pop the gate? Because he submitted under it just like we is. And I just don't understand it. So I don't think you can answer that question to why, you know, I understand that he's a threat to the system and everything. And I don't think you can answer the question, but I want to thank you, and I also want to get on here and, you know, put that man's name out here too, you know, because his name needs to be known. It's Rap Brown, Jamil Alameen, and, you know, I want to thank you, and I want to let people know about that man, because he submitted. I mean, like, the man is, I mean, you can't find no greater devotion to God like that. And I just don't understand, you know, why they keeping them locked down like that. But he was the guy that was in the beginning of the Fred Hampton movie, you know. Like
Let me answer it. Let me answer you. Also, thank you for being in all the classes. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support. So let me answer you. I remember when I was in prison, and a lot of the brothers from the Muslim car and the Christian car and you know, brothers out the Bay and brothers out of Seattle, LA, they wanted me to be in the car, right? And I would tell the brothers in the Christian car and the Muslim car, I was like, brother, no offense, but your God is not active enough for me. They didn't understand what I was saying. And I was saying, I said, let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you this scenario. I said, when I was 16 years old, I told you that the Most High first appeared to me, and many after that, right? So when I went to prison, there was a whole bunch of prophecies and appearances that I already had that I could leverage against the system, which is why I went to trial in the feds and nobody does. The reason why I didn't have any fear is because of the appearances and the prophecies that he had personally given me. So I was leveraging God's word against the word of the system, against the word of the judge, against whoever was the prosecutor. I was leveraging what the Most High had already given me that I know could not be altered. And I just had to believe it. And because I know the Lord loved me, I said, well, I guess what? Y'all gonna have to give me life because I'm definitely about to take you to trial. And I only did that because of what the Most High had given me at a young age. So what happens is, your question is, a lot of people don't come to prison, right? What happens is, when they get to prison, they start developing a relationship with the Most High. Right? Because see, I already had things that the Most High said that would happen for me in my life. When you first start seeking God, God is not going to tell you right away. You got to first start seeking the Most High, and then He will be able to tell you what He has planned for you. Your seeking might start when you get to prison. You're not able to leverage anything until you understand what He has for you first. I already had that. So I had to leverage before I came. So I came leveraging before. You have to first get it and then find out what it is He has for you before you can leverage. A lot of people go to prison and they begin to find the Most High, right? And you finding the Most High, you're seeking, and then you start in a relationship, and the Most High starts telling you what He has for your life. It's only at that time that you can leverage His word against the system. What is His word? What if His word to you is that my grace is sufficient for you, like He told Paul, and He never took the thorn out of Paul's side, never. So you don't know what the Most High has for you. I just happen to know ahead of time. So because I knew ahead of time, I could say, I don't care what you're saying to me. I know what the Most High said to me, and what you said is going to fall. And it did fall. So when you go to prison, you got to first seek. You got to find out what He has for you. And only at that time can you leverage that. So I don't know what that brother's situation was when he came to prison. I don't know if he knew what he knows now.
Hey, Dre.
Because, yeah, go ahead.
Dre.
Go ahead.
Dre. He was with the Black Panther. He was with the Black Panthers, and he was in jail, and he became a Muslim while he was in jail. But when he got out of jail, he used it to change a whole community that was strung out on drugs and everything, and he changed that whole community. You know, they took him to jail because of his influence of being, in the because of the Black Panthers. You know how all the Black Panthers was out there talking to everybody and everything like this. He still had that influence, but he turned Muslim. So when he turned Muslim, he came back out and he just lived by the Muslim God, But I consider the Most High God to me like with the Hebrew thing. Like, I understand the Hebrew thing, but I don't fall too much into it, because I feel like you said in one of your daily fires, when somebody asks you how do you know when God is talking to you, and you like it'd be like a little bit whispered. Like, I feel like I hear what God wants me to do, and I feel like a lot of that stuff has come with not being underhanded, being a righteous person, being a good person. I feel like when you do all these things that's in alignment with God, because I believe just like you that my God, I can call upon Him. And to me, like I say, the man is, because to me, Dre, like you and him are some of my favorite. You and him are like my two favorite teachers, man. Because I got manhood from you, but I really got the religious, spiritual part from him. Even though I take a lot of your spiritual part and I see the way that God moved in your life. And I don't understand, I just don't understand why that man ain't free. But like I said, and y'all should look him up too. Rap Brown, Jamil Alameen. You look him up and you see the man is amazing. He's articulate. They don't want him in the public.
So let me say, bro, and
because
thank
of
you
his
for,
influence.
yeah, thank you, bro. That was a great
But I don't think it's.
question.
I don't.
That was a great question that you have, man, and I appreciate that. But we're gonna try to answer some more of those questions, right, that you have, because I see what you're saying, and we
And
need
I'm
to
sorry.
bring some. Yeah, we're gonna bring some clarity, loved one, and I'm gonna see you in class tomorrow. I see you in class tomorrow.
I just want to bring some light. Thank you, man.
Love, love. So I'm gonna let me and Brother Alazar are gonna break this thing down because we don't want to be. Let me just say this, man. Like I said from the beginning before, there's a lot of different people teaching a lot of different things, and again, the reason why I'm comfortable saying the things that I say because I serve the God that answers by fire. Um, and I don't want to be. I'm not trying to put anybody down anywhere. It's not my. It's not what I'm into. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of good, and Alazar knows where I'm going. But let me just say this, and I'm gonna let him take it from there. Listen, the scripture says that if you gave your body to be burned, if you took care of the poor, right? If you went and seen the sickly, you could do all these things, right? There's a lot of people that do a lot of outwardly things, right? That might appear to be holy or righteous, right? A lot of people. There's a lot of people. There are people that do. The scripture says, "If you give, you shall receive." That's a spiritual principle. It doesn't say that if you're black, if you're white, if you're rich, if you're poor. There's a spiritual principle that says, "If you give, you shall receive." Right. So you could be evil and you give, and guess what? You're gonna receive. That has nothing to do with relationship. That has nothing to do with submitting before the Most High, as we teach, right? As we teach, right? We don't believe that the Most High, in light, listen to what I'm saying because I don't want you to get mixed up. He's indeed universal. He is indeed the only God, right? But he doesn't cover everybody the same. What I mean by that is you say, well, this brother over here, he can be a Hindu. This brother over here, he can be worship Buddha. Because it's all the same. No, it is not. No, it is not. Right? As a matter of fact, the Lord says that I'm a jealous God. Thou shalt worship no other God before me. Why did he say that? Because the Most High knows that there's other gods out there that people are worshiping. Right? That statement would have never had to be said if he just was with everybody. Right? He says, thou shalt not worship no other gods before me. Do you see that statement? If you look into it, into its depth, because he realizes that people have made other gods before him, or the statement would have never had to be made. So I don't want you to think that that the Most High, as we talk about, is the same as anybody else, because he's not. And he's not going to share his worship. And I don't even care whether people believe it or not, because I'm only here for the remnant anyway. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not here for everybody. I'm only here for the remnant, because only a remnant will be saved. Right? So what Alazar and I are talking about, we're not pressed to have you. We're not out there trying to reach the world. That's not our mission. We're only here for the remnant, brother. And Alazar might be able to be more specific about it. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, going back to like you said, we're not here to knock anybody. I took heat from some Israelites a few weeks ago because I was on the brother Sonetta's platform, and Sonetta said, who is your leaders? Well, I said, well, in general, I said the only single individual that we can truly say is monolithically led black people in any capacity, really on a grand scale in this country, is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I can't say nobody else.
And it's true.
Nobody else had 2 million man march. Nobody else did that, right? True. So am I saying I'm about to go get with the Nation of Islam? No, but I can recognize him and his greatness and what he's done for our people, period. Right? That just is what it is. And recently, a couple months back, we was on the Clubhouse platform, You know, through WAC 100's facilitation, you know, we had a couple debates with brothers from Nation of Islam, right? But that don't mean we don't love them, right? That don't mean we don't think that they haven't done great things. You know what I'm saying? We're not here to knock, and that's something that you can adapt from the game, right? We're not going around. I don't have to shame or shade anybody else. I don't have to dim your light so I can shine brighter. I'm just gonna shine. That's just what the Most High teaches. Just shine. So I don't want nothing that anybody says a knock. I was especially going back to the original point of I was just referencing the relationship that a Muslim has, right, with their deity, with their God is different than an Israelite. It's so much different because it's familial. The Israelites. This is our forefathers' God. This is a family thing. And you know how you talk in the house with your family versus with the outside world. And that's important to understand when understanding and building and developing your relationship with the Most High.
That's right. It's true. Because let me tell you, that statement that Brother Alazar made about the minister, there's nobody that's been more impactful in our generation, and it's not even close, than the minister. And I truly love him. You hear what I said? Love him. And when I was doing conversations with the streets, some of my most two dedicated sister and brother Jonathan Muhammad and Angela Muhammad, they were some of my two closest people that were with me, that were in the movement with me. And then in the beginning, they got some heat because, in not this time, I allowed all people, white, black, whoever. As a matter of fact, it was important for me to have a big tent and not have a marginalized voice. And I would try to teach that to our people, right? You have to have a big tent when you're talking about running a campaign, right? You involve everybody. I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're green. I don't care what religion you come from and everything, because this is a movement about police accountability. I'm concerned about your care about fairness, right? And if you believe in that, I want you to come join me. You could be gay, you could be purple, whatever. You understand? And so they came and they were a part of it from the beginning, and they got some heat in the beginning. But then towards the end, when they seen all the work that was achieved, right? Some of the people in this area, there was pressure put on them about, man, y'all supposed to be doing this kind of work, right? And a lot of Israelite, I was interviewed in one of the the Final Call magazine, a newspaper that they have. I was interviewed in that, because just like I cannot diminish the work of of Minister Farrakhan, they were not hating on me and hating on the work that they know that I've done, right? And I brought Brother Nuri Muhammad, who's really high up in the nation, and brought Rizza Islam and a lot of people, to conversations with the streets, right? And what I would say is that you leave your ideology at home, because what we're about is Black unity in reaching our youth, and all of us can agree with that. But when we bring ideology in, we got a movement here. We're going to be arguing. So if you're going to come and be a part of what I'm doing, you're going to check that ideology out the door, and you're going to elevate our youth in Black unity and come under that. And that's how we work. And as a matter of fact, when I brought Rizza and Dr. Umar, I was the one that was able to mend that relationship because they were against each other, right? So just bringing them together allowed them to mend the relationship. And the next month they were together out in New York together. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about your original culture. We're talking about what the scripture says. And we are also talking about the God that answers by fire. Now, I'm not, like I said, you can't diminish that the minister have been, and I believe he considers himself an Israelite to some capacity too, because he talks a lot about, he is very aware.
Yes, sir.
He is very aware, and he probably just can't come out and say it, but I've been listening to him. He knows, right? He will say that he's Semitic. You feel me? I've heard him say it. You feel me? So, but that's not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about what prophecy has said, what's about the coming, what's in the world now, what it has been prophesied about, And we're talking about the fulfillment of those prophecies, right? That cannot be altered. Either a person is going to be a part of that or they will not. It's a choice, right? And everybody's not going to get it. So this is why we don't go forth into the arguing and all that kind of stuff, because again, I always say my classes are called the Remnant. It's only a remnant. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm not pressed to try to go convince a Buddhist, a Muslim, or anybody, a Hindu. I'm not pressed to do it. That's not my job, right? And let me just, while I'm on that, I had a thought where you guys have said, I've heard this many of times, where you're yelling at white people, and you see a lot of the brothers that have done this and everything. The reason why that's not my position is because I believe in prophecy. What do you mean by that, Dre? That's a slight. No, it's not a slight. The scripture says what would happen to us. He told Abraham, the father of the faith, what would happen. And then he specifically said some things. He said, but I will punish the nations that have done this to you. And then you will come out with wealth. So there's going to be, they're going to pay for what they've done. What do they call that? I don't know why that's slipping. Pay reparations. There's going to be reparations, right?
Exactly.
But it's important that we understand what the Most High have said, because if we don't understand what the Most High have said, you could be out of order. Well, what did he say? The Most High says, I will punish the nations that have done that. Why is that important? Because I've had some conversations with some Israelite brothers, and I've said, listen, bro, be careful with that anger or that what you might consider hate. Be careful with that. I said, because I am one to believe that no matter how justified you might feel in that it's impossible for you to stand before the Most High with that in your heart. It's impossible. I know him. There's a standard that he requires of his people. There's a standard that he requires, right? And it doesn't matter what they've done. It doesn't matter in light of your disposition about what they've done, because it's never been your responsibility to take care of that. The Most High said, I will repay. So you got to be very careful that you are not out of order or in his lane. And because I know him so well, I'm able to maintain how I am, very pleasant, very kind, and all that. I'm able to maintain that because it's never been my job to repay them. It's never been my job. My job is submitting. Listen, to keep this flesh submitted is a 24-hour job, 7 days a week. I'm not slipping off this flesh. Apostle Paul, the greatest apostle that ever was in the world, said, I affect myself. I treat myself roughly. I treat myself like a boxer to keep this flesh submitted, because while I've preached to others, I myself become a castaway. He was aware. The man said, I went to the third heaven. He was so aware of the flesh, the power, the seductions, and the deceit of the flesh, that daily he made sure that he died daily. He made sure that he perfected himself, treated himself harshly like a boxer, kept himself under subjection, because he understands the consequences about being in the world without the Most High and what that looks like. And that's my disposition. I am 24/7 submission. And the power is from my submission. The manifestations is because of my submissions. Not because I went out there and did a damn thing, because it's never been my job. I can embrace you. A lady named Lisa Ducard, she's an attorney. She's a very powerful woman, very bright woman. I love her. White woman. I love her. Do you hear what I said? This woman was a child genius. She went to university, I think was it 12, and went to Yale at 17? A child genius, known all over the world in that arena. Bright, right? Dedicated herself to my movement, to join with me. And I told you 21 different organizations was a part of this movement, De-Escalate Washington. There was some friction that had happened, some deceptive things that was trying to happen, right? That's how the enemy works. When she found out about it, because she was a very powerful person from New York to here, when she found out about it, She called them people and said, if you think I'm going to let any of you guys do anything underhanded to Andre Taylor, tell you what, I quit right now. She was so dedicated to me. I don't know any of my own people that would have took such a stand like that. You know what I'm saying? So, do you think that because of what white folks have done, I'm looking at her? Did you hear what I said? I said I love her and I'll go to bat for her right now. Because the Most High will put in your life, and if you're not cognitive of the fact that Most High uses people, it moves through people, right? You'll end up cursing the blessing. That is my friend to the day I'm up out of here, right? So I don't take the position of this forward action. I don't take the position of weapons. I don't take the positions of using anything that men have to bring about the will of the Most High, because I think it is a shame for anybody to suggest that the Most High has to use anything that has to do with man's power, his weaponry, to bring them to submission. It is an offense to the Most High, and I refuse to do it. That will never be me. Brothers used to say, man, we need to take us some arms. I said, you're a fool. You gonna try to fight guns with people who create guns and make the bullets, you idiot? You're going to go try to fight. You might got a little AK and they got stealth bombers, you idiot. God is not bringing it about there. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about brilliance. Let me tell you something about it. Do you know that some of the most powerful white people in this state came and submitted themselves to me? Was it this? No. Was it any violence perpetrated from me? Never. It is the fact that they recognize, because they feel they own all the knowledge, they have all the Ivy Leagues and all that, they feel they own. It is the fact that they recognize that there was an information and knowledge in the world that they weren't privy to. And when they recognized it was something that they weren't privy to, they respected it. And it was that knowledge that made them submit. It was the knowledge that made them come and do what everybody else was trying to make them do. And they submitted down. What do you want us to do, Andre? What would you have us to do? Do you understand what I mean? Even law enforcement. What do you want us to do? I know how the Most High is going to do it. And I refuse to act like anybody out here that's putting energy in violence to make it happen. That minimizes my God. It minimizes him. You want to see violence? Sit back and stay yielded and watch what the Most High do. You want to see the type of violence that is so severe that if you look at it, you could be turned into a pillar of salt because it was never your business. When you come up out of Sodom and Gomorrah, don't turn around, because certain things were not meant for you and were not even meant for you to even see. There is a violence, there is that you have, boy, let me tell you something. Listen, man, you just stay yielded, right? Don't even let that come into your heart one bit, because you're going to minimize your power. Your power comes through your submission. You're going to minimize your beauty. You think all those different races came to me because they felt anything in me outside of my support? You think I just represented black people? I represented white people. I represented natives. I represented Asian Pacific Islanders. I represented Samoans. I represented every community, and I fought for every community as much as I fought for my brother. Why? Because I'm the remnant. I come here to show what it looks like. You know why God chose us as a people? Not because we were great. We were fewer. We weren't great. He said, but I will use you to prick the world to jealousy, to make them want what we have. Is there anything about our people that make them want what we have? Is there something about me that makes people want what we have? Yeah, because I'm the remnant. And because every day I submit. I use all my energies to keep this flesh submitted. It gives me enough issues. It needs my undivided attention. And let me just say this last thing to you. I've said this before. You could be good at preaching. You could be good at being a Muslim. You could be good at being an Israelite. You could be good at being a Buddhist, but bad at being a man. Did you hear what I said? You could be all those things and have no idea what a man is. You can violate in manhood. And the Most High said, stand before me and be thou perfect. And when he's talking to you, be a man. You remember the scripture I told you that out of everything David could have told his son, David was a man after God's own heart. He had conquered kingdoms. He had conquered Goliath. He had defeated lions and bears. He had all the experience. He had walked with the Most High. And before he was going to make his transition, he knew his son Solomon was going to be in his stead. And you could imagine all the things that he could tell his son before he died. What do you think it was? What I need to leave to him, to impart to him, to let him know. Boy, let me give you something. Because he knows that his son is going to be king over Israel. He knows he was going to have to judge the people. What in the world was the most important thing in David's mind through his experiences, through his time with the Most High, that he could tell his son? You know what he told his son? Show yourself a man. Don't that look different to you now? You could be good at being an Israelite, a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Hindu, and be bad at being a man. Get yourself together. Check yourself. Out there thinking you representing the Most High. Get yourself right. What your household looks like. What your household looks like. When I was doing police accountability and people wanted to come be a part, especially black men, I'd ask them, bro, before I partner with you, I got to know what your household looks like. I don't care how brilliant you are. I don't care how much you know. I don't care if you know the etymology of this and all that shit don't mean nothing to me. What your household looks like. Because see, my words reflect my life. My life reflects my word. Everything I say, my life reflects. Now, nigga, can you buy that? I had to bring some game into it, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't nobody fading us Israelites. Nobody.
Point blank. Point blank.
Nobody
And that
fading us Israelites, man.
that was so powerful. And I see somebody put in the chat, that I couldn't receive what you were saying because I have an indoctrinated camp mind. And what they don't understand is I agree with everything that the brother just said. There's nothing I can point to that I disagree with or I don't operate. And the main thing, and that's something the Most High have been dealing with me recently, is letting him fight. Letting him fight. Within the last few weeks, there's different situations that happen. And my first reaction, right, my first mind was, well, there's one, I'm not going to give him no light, but, somebody, he's a prominent person, people know him. He took a real jab at me. And I said, well, he throwing stones in a glass house. I could easily visit his glass house. But I say, no, I'm going to let Yahweh fight. I'm going to let the Most High fight. Right? That ended up leading into a gigantic opportunity for me. All because I didn't fight. And I let him fight. And that individual, he still has the fight of his life coming up ahead of him. And I wouldn't want to be in the position that he's in. But it is what it is. But also this huge opportunity presented itself to me through people that I'm not really fond of. But I learned that I have to humble myself to that. Because the Most High is utilizing them as a vessel for my job to get done. Right? So if that's the case, then it doesn't matter how I feel about any damn body. The Most High is at work and we here serving him. So I'm just going to serve him and I'm going to stop letting anything get me hung up on a damn thing. Whatever he wants me to do, wherever he wants me to go, whoever he wants me to befriend, whoever he wants me to accept, embrace, in order for his job to get done, I'm just going to do it. It's just that simple. It's submission. Not my will. Thy will be done. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. That's simple.
That's real, man. Look, man. Hey, man. Hey, uh, most guys couldn't listen. When I first started giving my first meeting out here, when my brother got killed, and I had a rally out here, all the brothers and everybody came out the city in the beginning. You know what I said? I said, before we get started, I need to talk to you brothers out here. If you are a brother out here that if somebody called you a nigga, you lose the victory, you need to step on away because you're not qualified to be a part of what I'm about to do. You need to just go ahead and step away, man. Right? Because that might be said. Right? Because the enemy is brilliant. Like I always say, white supremacy didn't happen just with violence, it happened with brilliance. Right? And violence is not going to make them stop. Brilliance is going to make them. Who controls the future is the person that has the information that offsets white supremacy, because white supremacy has ran the world for a while, right? So the only thing that makes that null and void is not violence. It is a deeper, higher knowledge that makes it submit where it becomes null and void. That's what I have shown, right? So I told them, if any of you are operating like that, bro, you're just not qualified to be a part of what's about to happen, right? So how is it that I know? It's because I know, which is why I said, from people in the streets that are trying to transition or whatever, come into the information of their own mind, tell your story before your enemy does. You know, I've been telling my story 25 years because I already had a forethought and foreknowledge of how he operates. The reason why we haven't been successful dealing with police accountability is because we are reactionary people and we always lose the narrative, right? Everything is a reaction. And those people have mastered our reaction. Situations happen, somebody gets shot, they know 2-3 weeks they'll go rallying on the streets and all that, and things get back to normal because you're reactionary. So the Most High taught me, don't react, respond. That's why sinful, where he got that from, because I taught him that. Don't react, respond. So when I came up here, that's what I put down. I never reacted. I always was, because when you react, you empower the people that have made you react. When you respond, you're responding out of your own fire, out of your own brilliance, out of your own poise, out of your own strength. You keep yourself solid. You keep yourself consolidated. When you react, you empower. You seed. You give up power. You empower that person. When I was in the Fed, some of you know the story, a dude who was a gang member, one of the shot callers, he didn't like me. But his partner loved me, BR. BR was close to my uncle, who was a BGF original and did about 17, 18 years. Loved my uncle, right? And he loved me. So dude never said anything as long as BR was with me, but he always disliked me. But when BR was sent to a different prison, it gave dude an opportunity to say something to me. So one day he said, man, you ain't nothing but a bitch. And I looked at him, I said, well, man, if you was a peer of mine, maybe if you was somebody that, I looked up to, maybe what you say would have some significance to me. But that don't mean anything to me, man. I said, but if you come to try to hurt me, of course I'm going to defend myself, but you calling me a bitch has absolutely no significance whatsoever. Right? Because the Most High taught me that. Right? So being developed in that, not being a reactionary person, right? Like most of black men are, and why white men can easily control you, because all they got to do is call you a nigga. And you lose the victory. You ain't strong. You weak. You weak here where it counts. Why does it bother you? You know why it bothers you? Let me tell you why it bothers you for a white man to call you a nigga and why you have a reaction. Because you value them. You think that they're somebody. That's why. Why doesn't it affect me? Because I know who I am and I know who they're not. It'd be like a baby calling me that. It has no significance. You are moved because you value them. You worship them. You look up to them. And their words to you make you feel less than. because of how you look at them. I don't look at them like that, which is why I was able to conquer them. You understand? You're reactionary. You need to submit. That's what I'm talking about. It's about submission, a 24-hour, 7 days a week job to keep the flesh submitted. You will never get into the place to see the Most High handiwork. You will never see it because you keep getting in the way. And he's not going to honor your behavior, so he will stay still. He's not going to do it because he don't want you to continue in that behavior. You stay in his hand. Submit. Submit. Eat that mess. Eat it. Eat it. Let it develop in you what it's supposed to develop in you. Eat it because you need it. I'm a good Israelite, but you a bad man. That ain't no characteristics of no man. That's the characteristics of a little boy. We talking about man stuff around here. You talking about being leaders of the world. You think you're going to lead like that? Not you. We talking about being an example of his greatness. Where the world looks upon us and desires to be what this is. You think they're going to be devouring your angry self? Because all the world who operates on a global platform with poise. You know what poise is? Calm under pressure. And all the great leaders of the world, you can hear people saying the worst shit about them. You see, during the time when you started to vote for people, you see how these politicians go at each other? Well, they go to school to learn that debating skills, right? You might say the worst shit. If a person have a reaction, he loses automatically. They don't respect him and they won't trust him up around their powerful shit because they know, oh, this boy too reactionary. He'll do anything. He's not qualified to be up around these great thinkers. And you trying to get ready to run the world. Running with what? With what you doing? With your reaction? That somebody can say the littlest thing to you and you fly off the handle and lose the total victory. And then you got 1,000 people following you? Acting like that? That's what you want? Please. I'm on the scene today because the Most High has approved me. Not no man. The Most High has approved me. And like I said, what's important to me, there's a whole bunch of people out there talking. A whole bunch of woke and all kind of people out there talking. Kevin Samuels talking. That's why I went at him. And some of you weak old people, why are you going at Kevin? Because his life didn't match his words. And I'm so tired of you being used and abused and manipulated by words alone. I want you as a people to have a standard of who you let speak into your life. And anybody just can't come speak into your life because there's a standard of expectation. What's that standard, Dre? A man's words have to match his life. His life have to match his words. Or he can't speak into our life. That's why I went after him. Yeah. And I'm going to protect my people and guard my people with this truth. Did anybody say anything else? Bring your receipts to the table. I'm talking big stuff because I got the big receipts to match it. I'm going somewhere, Alazar. Forgive me, brother.
No, that's beautiful. That's powerful though, and that's what we need, man. I took heat for a video I made against the brother Kevin, of course, who's transitioned now as well. But I just see things, man. A shepherd is supposed to watch for the wolf. That's our job. Most High said he was going to raise up shepherds according to his will, right? After his heart. So as being shepherds, is having that job. Our job is sheep. Sheep, you don't see that's a wolf? You don't see that's a wolf right there, right? That's a wolf. Watch the wolf. Or get devoured, by the wolf, or he's demonstrating wolf-like behavior. That goes for anybody, right? So our people, we got to be careful. We got to be careful, but it's our job as people who, because I was, when you read in 1 Corinthians 12, Paul ministers about the body, and he said the Most High dispensed the Spirit to a certain degree to everybody, all for His purpose. So for whatever purpose, He gave you your measure. He gave me my measure, leaders our measures, so we can go and tell people who have a different measure, hey, nah, don't do that, right? I got the foresight on that. Don't go after it. Don't let that deceive you. You know what I mean? So that's our job. And it's all for the function of all of us collectively, the remnant, the body of that remnant functioning, appropriately in the spirit of the Most High. And that's what it's all about. So we have to tell everybody, look out for the wolf. You don't see the wolf?
That's real. Who want to come up in here in this fire? Who want to come up with this fire, man? Don't be bashful now. Here we go. You on, guy?
Yeah, what's up, big guy? How you doing, man?
I'm good. Where you at? We can't see you. What you hiding for?
Let me you access this camera, man. Let me access this camera. Sorry about that. Damn,
You all right?
I don't know what's up with this camera. Okay, yeah. Wait, unable to access camera. Make sure it's properly connected. I got both my camera
Go ahead. But normally I like people when they come on.
windows open, bro. I don't know what I gotta do.
On here. You got to.
Oh,
all right. Go ahead. You found it?
You know what? Give me
go
1
ahead,
second.
Bro. Just go ahead.
One
you
second.
All right. Go ahead. As a rule, guys, when you come on here, oh, there you go, family. Love.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. So, man, look, I'm gonna just be honest. Yeah. All right, for sure, man. Hey, man, look, bro. I just want to tell you, I'm getting my ass whooped out here, bro, man. I'm out here homeless, bro. You know what I'm saying, the little bit of a girl, that did show me love, man. I'm realizing that, man, that shit is full of shit, man. You know what I mean? But I mean, I'm one of them people, bro, where and I don't even like to talk about myself. I don't like to talk about myself like this, bro. But I'm gonna fucking keep hacking away at this shit until I fucking nail this shit. That's just who it is. That's what it is, man. I'll be honest with you, bro. I've been homeless, man, for half my life, man. I've been homeless for half my life, bro. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't know that shit. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep hacking away at this shit until I fucking figure something out. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I've got a plan. You know what I mean? And I'm just getting beat up out here. I'm getting fucked up out here, man. I don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Unpack that. See, because
That's just the truth.
guy.
And you know some shit, bro. You want to know some shit that really fucks me up, bro? That really gets under my skin, man. And you tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm listening. Okay. What really hurts me, bro, and really messes me up, bro, is like, oh man, it's fucked up because I listen to guys like Freeze and stuff like that, right? And he's obviously oh man, the guy is extremely intelligent, but the game is so much different than the rest of the world. It's such a it's like a whole culture. You see what I'm saying? A whole bubble that impenetrable that the world can't really get into. You see what I'm saying? And it's so powerful when you take it in, when you observe it. You know what I'm saying? Because of that confidence. You know what I mean? But does that always mean that every single element of the game is 100% correct just because you know what I'm saying you feel like uh you know maybe it's a seedling of an idea that you think is really brilliant and correct. The rest of the game doesn't see it. You see what I'm saying? You logically put everything together, uh but maybe the brother don't see this, or this guy over here doesn't see this. He's not putting two and two together, and he's up on his thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just gonna get crushed in a way of the, you know what I'm saying? It's like a 3-year-old running in front of a fucking tank. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look out, little nigga, you gonna get crushed. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a whole insular thing, right?
Got a
So I
long
mean,
delay. Hold on. Hold
yeah.
on. Hold on. So, because there's a many of things that you're saying. I need to slow you down because you
All
know
right. I'm
you
listening.
said the game. So the reason why I have to slow you down
Oh,
there
this motherfucking. Okay.
because many people
Yeah, I'm listening.
have a different perspective of what that means, right? You say the game. I don't know what you mean by the game. What does the game mean to you? What the game means to you
Damn.
might mean different to somebody else, right? So because it's real surface when you say the game.
God
Because
damn
I
this
just did a
man.
class about the game the other day to really explain what the game is,
Gotta be
right?
fucking
What
kidding
do
me.
you consider the game? Let's talk about that for a second. And you got a
Hello.
long delay.
Oh yeah, that's a hell of a long. Oh. Was there a long delay? You didn't hear anything I said?
I heard what you said, but when I talk, it takes a long time for you to get it.
Oh, a long delay. Yeah. All right. So my bad, man. Please continue to say whatever you was gonna say, man, because I know you're
What do
very
you
helpful.
consider the game is? What do you consider the game is?
What I consider the game,
Mm-hmm. You got to
man.
go, Alazar?
Sure, what?
Do you have to leave?
No, I give you a little more time for sure. For sure.
Okay.
We go a
All right.
little long.
All right.
Yeah. Now, what I consider like, CC man, bro. Look, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, man, look, bro. And I hate talking about myself, bro. I hate talking. I do not like talking about myself like, oh, I'm so smart and I'm so this and I think I'm this and think I'm that.
What's the
But I'm
game
but
to you, bro? What's the game to you?
what's the game
Let's
to me?
because you already
Bruh, I think that I'm a smooth nigga, man. I think that I can talk and I can move women with words, and I have a way about me that's very, something about me. You see what I'm saying? Now, I believe that at the bottom of my heart, and that's how I operate, right? But then, what I'm saying, I done hit on about 100,000 women in my life, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's not the game. That's not the game.
That's not the game.
That's
Okay.
not the game.
You
Okay,
see,
so
I
see,
hear
that's what
you.
I said.
I hear
That's
you.
not the
Talk to
game,
me.
right?
Talk to me, man.
That's not the game.
Talk
But
to
see,
me.
let me tell you, man, there's so many different layers to what's going on with you that we would take 2-3 hours to try to get to the root of that.
Hey, man, but
So
it's interesting. It's
you need to hit
interesting. It's
me.
interesting content.
Yeah, hit
Am
me
I am
off.
I wrong?
Yeah, hit me offline. Hit me offline and on my IG or leave me a message here, your email, how I can get in contact with you because it's going to take a long time because I could see like I said, I'm not the kind of person that says stuff and don't follow through. If I'm telling you
Yes,
that
sir.
I'm going to talk to you offline, you can rest assured before I don't do that, I'm going to die. Okay? So,
Mm,
in your case, hit me, give me your information. I will
okay.
talk to you offline.
All
Okay?
right, bro. Yeah, I got you,
Love,
man. You
love.
too, bro. Take care of
All right.
yourself for
One.
sure. Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Go ahead, Alazar. What's on your mind, fam?
Yeah, I mean, there's a profession that's becoming very popular right now, and that's dealing with coding, right? And that's how you need to look at game. He's looking at it in a very minuscule thing and how it applies to one aspect or one lifestyle. That's only he's marginalized the game to a particular lifestyle. A big up to Shapova the Prince. I see him in the chat. And he said that the game is always right because the game is tried, tested, and true. Right? Paul in his epistle to Timothy, he said, prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. So it's an accumulation of knowledge of wisdom that's been proven, that's been tested, that's came back good, right? And it's like coding. This coding thing, how it works. Y'all are looking at us on the screen right now. All this is a bunch of numbers that somebody done put together. In actuality, you're seeing it, but it's a bunch of numbers, right? And you can take those numbers and create all kind of stuff with it. The game is that code. It's the code. That's what it is. And you can apply it, right, to all aspects of life, not just that one lifestyle.
Yes. So the scripture says something, and I've said this several times in my classes, that the scripture speaks about a hidden knowledge that was hidden for his people, for us. And that hidden knowledge is the game. that hidden knowledge that because I want you to understand that the Lord says that the wisdom of man is foolishness unto the Most High, right? So if that's true, and we know that it is, well, when I was younger, I used to tell the Most High, would you teach me that? I want to know that information. The wisdom of man is foolishness unto the Most High. I want you to give me information that makes their greatest Ivy League minds foolish. That's what I want. And how I got game, and this might not seem to you that the way to get it, right? But how I got game is through the things that you would never expect it from, right? Remember I said submission? That's how I got it. I got game through submission, right? The more I submitted, the more the portals of my mind were open to receive that download from the Most High. The less I submitted, the less information I had. Remember I told you guys from the gate that the most important thing to me every day is my submission to the Most High. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. That's what I focus on, to keep this flesh submitted, because this flesh is a monster. But it's just not keeping the flesh submitted. It is the rewards. It is the benefits that go along. CJ, thank you for that $10. And you guys need to, I don't want to say tithe because the church say it, but all this information that's been put out there, if you guys don't bless this game and quit playing, Sinful would have been done had you guys as head. You guys sucking up this free information and don't show no appreciation for this game. I wouldn't even feel like a man if I was here listening and didn't feel like I wanted to contribute. If you don't knock it off, anyway. So this submission, man, is the more I submitted, the more I made myself available to receive, right? Because again, that submission, it applies into every area, right? Because what that submission taught me is how to maneuver when people came against me, how to maneuver when people that spoke against me, how to maneuver when I was in the game, how to maneuver when I was in prison, how to maneuver when I was dealing with police accountability. It was that submission that gave me poise, right? That poise allowed me to stand fast, unmovable, right? Paul says, stand fast, unmovable, always abounding in the grace of the Lord. But I'm just trying to tell you the elements, how that is developed. So that submission was the beginning of it, right? Because then it opened me up. The submission opened me up, and I was able to receive downloads, because that's how God downloads, is through your submission. The more you submit to the Most High, the more he'll download to you, the closer you'll become to him, which is why I let you guys know there's nothing more important than submitting. It has nothing to do with how it feels, how I feel. Remember, I told you I've had dialysis twice. I could have been with that original mind. I could have been angry. Why you let this happen to me, God? And all of this stuff, right? I could have taken on that position. But we have a relationship. I know how the God allows things to happen. Why not me? I'm the one over here talking this big old stuff all the time, right? So why not show the people what it looks like for a person like myself to be in certain conditions? Why not allow that to happen? You don't think how powerful that testimony will be to people more than somebody that have never faced anything? People want to know. My father used to say, I used to love the juggler, but I used to always like to see what happens when he drops the ball. You see? So what happens when you're underneath adversity? You guys didn't even know I was on dialysis. You didn't even know until I told you, right? I spent a year and stuff on dialysis before you know. Why? Because I did not want people in Seattle or the government to feel like I could not conduct myself the way that I was conducting myself. I didn't want them to feel that I was incapable of doing what I was doing, because you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to give them that information. I wanted to shut that down. And I never gave them any indication, even though I was on dialysis fighting for my life, the weakest I'd ever been in my life. But they never knew it, right? Because I told you from the beginning, through my relationship, that love relationship, that faith with worketh by love, right? I know that the situation didn't come to kill me. So it either came for me to conquer it or for me to learn something. Remember, I taught you guys that I have gone through life in observation mode. What does that mean, Dre? Once you realize, once you have that relationship with the Most High, once you're operating in that original mind, right, and you're submitted, once you know that situations don't come to destroy you, they come for you to conquer or for you to learn something through. Okay, so if you're going through that situation and you have that knowledge, right, you're not looking at the situation like that original mind was, right? So because you're not looking at the problem, it's not just a problem, but that original culture will tell you any situation you're going through, they will tell you that it is a problem. So when you take on that mentality of a problem, you begin to react problem out, right? But when you have a different mind, a different perspective, because you already know it didn't come to destroy me, it came for me to conquer or for me to learn something through. That's when you can go through observation mode. So what they consider as a problem, you're going through it like this. What am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to get? Like Alazar said earlier about the video with Philip. What am I supposed to get? He was in observation mode. Do you understand? So when you're with the Most High, everything is not a problem like that secondary mind teaches you. Everything's a problem. And you react as everything is a problem. You have a reaction. Everything's a problem. No. Not in our life. This is something for me to conquer. So you see the disposition that comes from you there. You see the attitude that comes from you then, right? So you're not giving, you're not ceding power to that stuff. When it's only a problem, you've given all your power away to it. And then your body and everything else reacts according to what you have taken. Remember, I've told you, every spiritual battle is won or lost at the threshold of the mind, not in the mind. You got a decision right here before, right? So when that situation comes to you as a remnant, you're not taking it in like that second mind would. Oh, this is a problem. And then it controls everything, every action, everything, problem, right? But oh, when you're a remnant, you got the information and you're able to say, this is coming for me to conquer it, or I'm supposed to learn something. So now everything that happens is from that perspective. Now you're in observation mode. What do you want me to learn? And so the impact of what the world and with the secondary mind, that impact of problem is not happening to you. That's why you can stand fast, unmovable. You can't stand fast, like the scripture says, unmovable, if you've taken the perspective like the culture has taught you to take it. You can't stand fast, unmovable, because you have a reaction. This thing gets real deep, don't it? That's the beauty of your own culture. That's the beauty of what belongs to you. This is what you're missing out on. How could you not run to us over here? Come on, Alazar, before he goes, man.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I couldn't have said it no more better myself, man. That's the beauty of this whole thing. And this is why it's so important. And this is why we understand the value of it. And if you don't understand the value, man, I don't know, something's wrong with you, man. We gonna keep going. We ain't sitting around waiting for you to understand the value. It's very clear here, right? But the problem is our value system has been created and given to us from somebody outside of us. That's why we value them the most. Like you said earlier, why we worship them, for the most part, collectively as a people, unfortunately. So, man, this, y'all have been here for 3 hours, and we can go for the next 3 weeks doing this if we wanted to. That's how infinite the wisdom of the Most High is. The game is. That's how infinite it is. It is it's alive. It didn't die, and we found it, and now we've read the book. Now we're done with the book, right? I didn't read. If people know me, I've been in this walk as a Hebrew Israelite. I was 17. I'm 32, so that's coming up on 15 years, right? I've been teaching on the streets, ministering, leading for 11. No, how long? What's that? 12 years? Not 11 years. 12 years now. And I still go up in that Bible and I see things that I never saw before. Say, wait a minute, hold on. This wasn't there. This couldn't have been there. Right? But that's how infinite and never ending this information is.
Hey man, I want to tell you, I'm gonna let you go after this one guy because he might have a question for you. But
Yes,
before
sir.
I do, I want to tell you that I love you, man. This is not gonna be something that, that this is a one-time thing. God, the Most High has connected us together for a reason, and we're going to investigate every part of that, man. Every part of that, fam. Right? You
Yes,
here
sir.
right here
Love
for
you too, brother.
yeah, for real, for real. Hold on, let's get brother on. Torah Zeal, what's up with him?
Shalom, shalom, brothers. How y'all doing, man? How y'all
Love,
doing?
love.
All right. Much love. I love the conversation, man. But one thing we need to get squared away because I kind of side with your side of things, but I also side with Gorilla and Sakari sides of many things also. But when it comes to establishing our people, and because Gorilla was from where I'm from, we talking about Torah, right? So when it comes to gathering our people under Torah, the biggest issue that we're having amongst Israel is this comparison of the Messiah that everybody's calling the Messiah, right? The biggest issue we're gonna have is that if we can't get unified under that one precept, nothing else is gonna matter in the end anyway. So I mean, we got people that's open Islam and stuff like that. We can love them and congratulate them on the good works they're doing in the community. But ultimately, for Israel to join together as a whole, there has to be a standard the way they said it during the time of Moses, right? So with that being said, I have to ask Gorilla because me and you know Torah. I'm not about to go into some big debate with you. We both know Torah. We both know New Testament. So it's just a straight up, just asking you a couple of questions. That's all I wanted to do. All right. Number one question is, where does it say in the Torah that a man could die for somebody else's sins? Because we know, according to Scripture, they say Jesus was put to death according to the Scriptures. They didn't give a specific one, but the only thing we can assume from that verse is that he died according to the law, right? But we have to figure out which law that is.
What? No, see, this is the problem. See, and this is where brothers do sometimes is you've now framed something. You framed the question and presented it in an absolute manner, right? So you've created a standard as it appeals to you, and now you're trying to enforce it
No,
as if
as
it's
it
your.
appeals to Torah. I don't want to say me,
Hold
not
on,
my
hold on,
words.
hold
I'm
on.
talking about Torah.
Wait.
It's Torah.
Let me just say this real quick, bro. Torah Zeal, thank you for coming on, loved one. But when you speak, we're
All
gonna
right.
be quiet. You got to give brothers an
Right.
opportunity to speak, then you'll be a rebuttal. I don't allow that on my platform. I didn't allow it in police accountability when I had different adversions. Let me just say this. When I would bring the community and bring people that they were against, like polices and all that, I would tell our community, these people here are professionals. They can take the tough questions, but I'm not going to allow any disrespect. If you disrespect anybody of my guests, I'm going to escort you out. That's what I used to tell our people when I was doing police accountability, because I needed to let our people know we know how to conduct ourselves with some professionalism. So let me just ask that you, bruh, when you talk, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to hear everything you got to say. Extend that same grace to everybody else. That's all I'm asking, fam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand. Yes, sir.
Definitely. So yeah, so it was framed in a way. So the issue is this, right? Number one, we go in the New Testament. We'll see the word law sometimes, and it's not actually referring to the Torah. It's referring to what's designated as the Old Testament in totality. So what his crucifixion is in reference to is Isaiah the 53rd chapter, right? He was cut off for my people's transgressions, it says. It didn't say he was cut off for his own. So that's it right there, right? But there's a misunderstanding even in that concept, because men will still die for their sins. Men will still be punished for their sins, even with that. So the concept is actually dealing with something called the second death, called Judgment Day, and people's action at not falling victim to Judgment Day. That's what that sacrifice is specifically about, going back to Isaiah 53 and ultimately the liberation. So not one specific law, because now when we deal on an individual level, like if your father did something, you don't get put to death for what your father did. But he also tells us what? He gave Egypt and Ethiopia as a ransom for our lives, right? So he killed the Egyptians as a ransom for our lives. So the Most High has demonstrated throughout the Old Testament that he kills people for people, that he sacrifices people on behalf of other people. He's operated that like that consistently throughout the Tanakh, right? So that's not a concept that is strange. It's just a concept that is not ours to enact. It's not a man can't sacrifice another, say, okay, I'm gonna kill this dude on behalf of your sins. No, but the Most High can do it. And that's why when you read in the New Testament of the documentation of the crucifixion, first all the priests do what? They get to slapping the Messiah. They get to slapping him. They start slapping him. And people don't understand what that's about. Why are the priests slapping them? Because the priest got to put their hand on the sacrifice before it's offered. So that's what they did, right? So that's how that goes. But that was an act of the Most High, not an act of man, because man has no authority to put another man to death for the sins of another man.
Brother Torah, you want to respond? And then I want to ask a question. Go ahead.
All right. Yes, sir. Number one, we mixed a bunch of different things together. When I said that somebody's not supposed to die, we're not talking about somebody dying for somebody else's sins. We're talking about the God sent his own son to die by the hands of men, not that he sent him to die by sickness or anything like that. You're telling me that God himself sent his own son down to die so that he can, because obviously he couldn't do it without it. If you take Jesus, obviously he can't save us, obviously, like he was doing before. For some reason in the New Testament, it has to change to where now all of a sudden God can't do anything. He has to have Jesus come and die so that he can forgive our sins and wash. And his blood, he even talks about his blood being the purification. Again, you cannot see in Torah where a man's blood can purify you anywhere at all. It's not in there. In the context of Abraham about to sacrifice his son, I brought this up to Deacon in the comments, and he directly refused to address it. And he said, well, y'all saying nobody can die for somebody in the Torah. Well, look at Abraham and Isaac. He didn't sacrifice him, though. That's the point. Human blood cannot purify you in no kind of way. But the New Testament is all about drinking his blood. It's all about him shedding his blood for you as if he's washing you of something that you're wrong for, when that is not true. When it comes to coming back to the Most High, what did he say? Return to me, oh stiff-necked and rebellious people. He's telling us to return to him, not through David, not through Jeremiah. He's not saying return to me through the prophets. He said just come back to his laws and his commandments. He never mentioned Jesus. So why are we sitting there acting like the New Testament is just something greater than what he was doing before? He already has the plan for us. We just keep rejecting it, looking for somebody else to come along and fix something that you can fix yourself. It's the same concept of what we're talking about right now. Black people expecting somebody to hand them some reparations or somebody just come and save them and get them out of it. We can do it ourselves if we just stand together. It's that simple. We keep blaming everybody else for it. Oh, it's just hard to not sin. You hear it all the time, man. It's so hard to keep God's laws. It's so hard not to sin. It's actually not. You're making the choice not to do it. That's all it is. It's a choice. So when it comes to Jesus, we have a choice. I don't need some man to die for my sins. No, I do not. David didn't need it. Nobody needed it. Who needed it? Did Moses talk about him? No. So why do we need somebody else to come and die for us? Then you say you believe in only one God, and then you're telling me that this Messiah going to heaven and all that. This is not Torah. It's just not. We're getting into something else that is also derived from Greco-Roman world. If you look at demigods and everything that they do, that's what all that stuff is, man. Hercules is the same story. He inherited all his strength from who? Zeus, who impregnated a human wife. It's the same thing. So why do we need this character and not just the Most High alone? That's it.
Okay, so let me
if I could just real quick, Jay. Real quick. You convoluted so much and you're on a crusade. You just said David didn't need nobody to die for him, but did God kill David's son because of David's sin?
Can I answer that? Can I answer?
It's a yes or no,
I'm just making sure he was done talking. Yes, he did, but that was not for his sin directly. That was a consequence. That's different.
Brother, this is the problem, though. Yes, he did. So that contradicts what you just said. He in fact killed somebody. He required the blood of a human being that was the son of David as a result of the sin of David. So that totally works contradictory to your premise. I'm a Pastor Dre. My phone is just about to die now, so I do gotta go. But I appreciate you could let me come on this platform, and we got to do it again for Brother Torah Zealot. I know you be coming in the chat, so just keep coming in the chat. We continue this conversation, brother. Definitely, it's a good conversation. All praise to the Most High. Go ahead, King.
Let me just say, man, that see, this is one of the issues that be having with all religions, right? And this what makes it a religion, because everybody's over. That's what happened with the Pharisees and Sadducees. This point, this, that, and this. So the way that I just eliminate all that, I just like I said from the beginning, there's a whole bunch of people that want to know the etymology of this, or that. Bring the receipts. If the Most High is there, bring the receipts. And that's why I don't get into this, because you can say all you want. Not you, but it's people in general can say all they want, but I could show that the Most High is with me. And see, because the Most High holds the terms. You could be the richest man in the world, but you can't produce what the Most High can produce through what he said he would produce, that these things would follow the message. So there has to be something that distinctifies him from any other God. There has to be something, and that something is the manifestations of his realness. So if, like I say, I have actually went into the systems of government, and the Lord said that he sent his prophets to the nations. I went to the nations, to the government, and submitted them by the Most High. There's the receipts. I ain't got to sit here and talk this. Listen, my people all on here, why do you think people constantly come and choose to pay? Because they know my life matches my words. We can be on here. Brother said his phone was going to die. For 1,000,000 years debating different scriptures and debating that. We just like everybody, Christians do it, and I'm not into that, man. Because what I would ask you, bro, okay, you believe you got that. What have you done in your own community? What have you done in your community, in your city, in your state? What have you done with your belief system that you could share with us that makes us know that you have the truth? Because if you have not done anything to defeat our worst enemy, which is white supremacy, if you have not utilized your information to do so, why do you think we should believe it? What is that example? What can you show us? What can you give us? Because you got to bring your receipts to the table when you're talking to me. Because everybody can be smart and all. That don't mean nothing to me. Bring the receipts that the Most High is with you. What is that?
Well, for example, in the Torah, you also have many different designations of people, right? You have people be teachers. Everybody's not going to be a leader. Everybody's not going to gather 1,000,000 people like Farrakhan. That's not something realistic for everybody to obtain. You did something that I can't do. That's fine. But at the same time, he also gives wisdom to others also. I've changed lives of many people that come to me and say, if I didn't speak to you, I would have literally been still believing in Jesus. So I've done it. I've demonstrated. But the problem is, what I'm saying is, if we're going to build a nation, yes, it's fine to help people and stuff like that. Yeah, I do it all the time. Help family members, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with helping anybody. But when we talking about standardizing a specific nation, as we see and read about these great people that they had, we can get back to that. But to do that, we have to be on one accord with that word said. That's what the problem is when we come to debating doctrines and theology. That's the only reason why we keep doing it. You can go ahead.
The significance of the patriarchs of old was the manifestations of the Most High's realness, what they were able to achieve, not knowledge, because Christians have knowledge that have helped people. Muslims have knowledge that have helped people. Buddhists have knowledge that have helped people. Hare Krishnas have knowledge that have changed people's lives. That's not what we're talking about. What makes it significant? What is the overriding theme for the patriarchs of old? The overriding theme is the manifestations of the Most High realness, where the world was able to see, not what they taught, but what the Most High showed. Because when Elijah was talking to the prophets of Baal, what was that about? It was about the God that answers by fire. So we can be in here, debate scripture and all that. No, the consistent theme was the Most High showing himself strong through Abraham, through Isaac, through Jacob, through Samuel, through all. That is the significance. So when you say you could not have done because I did not do, it wasn't me that did anything. All I did was to submit. It was the Most High that did. So it is. I don't agree with you. I believe that your life you could do anything through your submission. There's nothing that you can't do because it ain't you doing it. It's the Most High doing it. So this is what I'm talking about. How do we come together? Because it is the God that answers by fire that's going to make the final decision. No other God. Only the God that answers by fire.
I'm sorry, your screen is still moving. Are you still talking right now?
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you have a delay. It still looks like you're talking. So now I 100% agree with you. I agree with what you're saying. But I'm saying, if you look in scripture, there are many people that are wise men, there are many people that are philosophers, sages that are needed also, because their wisdom will impact the next man on the outside to maybe he'll get up and change and do something also. It's not just the whole quarrel about the Jesus situation I'm having right now is specifically because the Most High already designated that as idolatry to say that there's another God in heaven. If we keep being in idolatry, how do we have the power as a people? Individuals, yes. Individuals, yes. You, myself, many other people like me, yes. Individuals can change many things. I didn't say that wasn't possible. But if we're going to move something on a grand scale, if we're going to shake this earth and cause the Most High to rise up and fight for his people again, he told us what we need to do. He told us we have to come on one accord with what he said, keep his commandments as one unit. It's not about individualism anymore. He said for all of us to get back together, idolatry has to be kicked to the curb. You cannot serve him and other gods. Why are we still in this situation? So many great people have come along and have fought for us and done so many great things. Not disrespecting yourself. I'm not disrespecting you in any kind of way, sir. I promise. I'm just saying, well, all the great things you can do, and I hope you go on to do greater. But the greater things that you continue to do, this is not changing our people, though. Who has actually done it? Nobody can, because the Most High is not fighting for our people. He's fighting for individuals, yes, to rise up, but he's not fighting for us as a whole, just as we see in scripture, until they all come together as a whole. Jesus is holding us back because he's an idol. He's not. There's nobody else in heaven. The Most High already told them this, but then when the New Testament comes, for some reason, we just forget everything he said before. You don't need anything else. We need each other, and we need the Most High to fight for us. That's what I'm fighting for, and that's what I'm trying to teach. To get people up to stop realizing that you need to wait on some savior and to get up and change something yourself. He's not coming back for you. He didn't even come back for the disciples that he promised he would come back to in that generation. Read Matthew 24. He didn't come back, and he's not going to, because it was a lie. The Most High says you, and he's testing you through your idolatry and your willingness to submit to him alone. That's simple as that. And until we do that, nothing everybody's doing is not going to change anything. We still the most uneducated. We still the most income driven. We're the most ones to get go out and actually change something in the workforce to do anything. What are we really changing? Entertainment, we squander all our money. Everything we do, it just goes in the drain. When our parents die, do they leave us something behind? No, white people get fortunes left behind. Why? It's because we don't have this wisdom. We're all just lost in this, waiting for somebody. I'm just tired, man. I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to do it. It's not going to change anything, like you said. Wisdom is the greatest thing. But instead of getting wisdom, we all keep looking for somebody to come and save us. And that's what's keeping us down, just like we did on the plantation. They indoctrinated us to keep us down. That's it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree that wisdom is the greatest thing. I don't believe that. I believe that submission is the greatest thing. And if we want, and it's futile to have for us to go back and forth. I have to allow you to have your opinion, and I'm going to continue to manifest the things of the Most High in my life. And I disagree that whatever work that the Most High has done through me has shaken the greatest nation on this earth already, where the president even called me. And that doesn't mean nothing to me, but it means something to people out there that has value in that. So I've already submitted and will continue to submit with the power of the Most High. And again, I'm not trying to sell nobody on anything. I'm going to give them the receipts, because that's what our people need. We've had great speakers of wisdom since we've been here in this country, but we had no power. There's been no power demonstrated. So, brother, I love you. I'm going to let you, have that. And we're just going to have to agree to disagree. But thank you for coming on. And I appreciate you. All the love in the world.
All right. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Love you, sir. Bye-bye.
One love. That's my loved one right here. That's my brother right here. Sharif, man. My main dude. I love you, man. I love you.
Yes, sir.
You hear me, man? My dude, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Pardon the sunglasses. I'm not trying to go Hollywood on nobody. I'm a little under the weather. I only caught the show. Well, it's not even a show. This ain't entertainment. This is critical information. So I've gotten in maybe 20 minutes ago, but a lot of compelling thing. It's evident that there's a lot of dissatisfaction, frustration. A lot of our people are dealing with angst. But one thing is beyond dispute. I've had the privilege of meeting you, knowing you, seeing your testimony, your action, your demonstration, and I just want to give you your props, as we say in the old school. And I know it's not really you, but what's working through you, because of your dedication, because of your humility, because of your servitude and your willingness to change. You know, you literally have been through the furnace. I'm going to confess to you, when I first saw American Pimp way back in 1990, 2000 on a bootleg DVD, I figured that was the end of your story. The way that movie ended, you know, not knowing you from a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And it touched me. I don't know why, but the way it ended, because I could pick up on your intellect and your substance beyond what they were trying to project you to be. You were more than that. I saw the Holy Bible in your jail cell on the table as you were talking to the interviewers, and the conviction, and even in that dark, dreary circumstance, you were unbowed. You were speaking to your future. You were demonstrating the power that undergirded you and the foundation from which you came through your father and the examples that you had, irregardless of what you might have done from time to time out here in the world. You never lost that foundation, and that same foundation has elevated you to do some historic, life-changing things, and you are a example in our midst. So, you know, our people tend to argue about dogma and labels. Look, it's better to be united by principles than divided by labels. I believe God's original religion is simply obey me. Oh, that's it. Or even if you want to take the golden rule, all of those books, Quran, Bible, Torah, if you simply practice the golden rule alone, we would be light years ahead of where we at. Instead of the apathy, the envy, the self-hate, the jealousy. And yes, a lot of that been thrusted on us through, you know, slavery and Jim Crow and living in a white supremacist construct and country. But if we simply practice the golden rule, that would be a great start. Want for your brother that you would want for yourself. No sooner than our brother or friend get a new car, a pair of shoes, our face all turned up, our hearts full of envy. We plotting how we can take from that man, or we're coveting his wife or his girlfriend. So we're sick people, you know, and quoting scriptures alone ain't gonna get it. Debating about who did what does this mean, what tribe you're from. God knows who you are by what you do.
Please
the
believe.
lip can profess, right? The lip can profess anything. He's not interested in no labels, because he's already got a name for us. You know, we may think because of what our mom named us, he's got a name for us. He know who we are. He formed us in a womb. You know, so that right now we have a very real problem in the real world that we have to solve in a tangible way. And in your capacity, you've given us a torchlight. You have dedicated a great amount of your time, energy, conviction, and resources to helping others, to changing lives. I remember, brother, I guess it was 2016 when you was on Facebook Live, when that terrible incident befell your brother, and feeling your pain, and you being open and vulnerable enough, and you didn't let that conquer you. You could have turned to rage or wrath or unravel. You know, people deal with grief in many ways. You know, sometimes it becomes their undoing. You turn your pain into purpose. And now thousands and thousands of people are the beneficiaries of your willingness to fight, to trust God and say, okay, I'm going to use this moment that my beloved brother's life is not in vain. This is for a purpose beyond my understanding, but I'm going to walk into it and be faithful and bring something powerful and positive out of it. And before you know it, the president is calling your phone.
Yeah.
That someone who people would have just deemed as some petty pimp or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So you are a example, and none of us can exalt ourselves to be this or that. But when we see someone doing the work, be humble enough to study and learn. Ask questions. You know, you've been an open book. whether it's the game, and the game, in my humble opinion, is basically just mastering yourself. Because once you master yourself, everything else is easy. You know, I heard the young brother come on maybe 20 minutes ago who said he was homeless and stuff. Yeah, I dealt with that when in my teenage years, and you know, was all over the place. I hope he finds himself, but you're not going to find it seeking validation through women. You're not going to find it, you know, shucking and jiving and not taking self-inventory of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's going to take hard, concrete decisions, and you got to look in the mirror. How bad do I want to get up out of this condition and stand up and man up? Because we all have the power to do that.
That's
you know, and you are a fine example of that. You've always been humble. I appreciate the honor you bestowed on me in Vegas about 5-6 months ago as we met out there.
Yeah.
You know, greeting me like an old friend, and that meant a lot to me. But I'm not saying what I'm saying based on bias or whatever. No, the truth is the truth. And I rejoice when I see great examples. I rejoice when I see signs of redemption and promise. Like when you were having as you alluded to, your kidney issues at that time, you know, and God brought you through that, and you're shining and looking 15, 20 years younger than most people in your peer group.
Yes, sir.
All of that is evidence. All of that is receipts.
Yes, sir.
You know, and the praise don't belong to you. You never sought the praise.
That's right.
You continuously tried to point people, say, look, I can help you get tapped in too.
That's right.
You know, we're all God's children of the Most High God. So, you know, I'm still a work in progress, but because of dedicated stewards like yourself who decimate the information, whose lives serve as a positive example, you know, it gives me added inspiration. It keeps me on an even keel, you know, as I navigate myself through the hells of North America.
Yes, sir.
And I have to give you your props for that, bro. So,
I like you, man.
So let's lose the debates. You know, it's do the right thing. Do right by yourself, your family, your community. Because if you can't get your household in order, you can't get on no podium and preach to nobody about nothing.
You shouldn't be.
Right. Indeed. You'd be amazed that people are so high-minded and have ideas. We need to do this. We need to do that. And their house or their domestic life or their relationship with their children is in shambles.
It's in shambles.
So, you know, before you start to espouse this, that, or the other, or try to come across as some religious scholar, look at your life. And whatever you profess to know, we should see the benefits of it in the quality of your life. Otherwise, it don't mean a damn thing. You might as well use that book as a paperweight.
Please believe.
Because it's not giving you no real power. I see the power being evident in what you do, brother, and what you've overcome and what you conquered and the laws that you helped get put in place in a historic and mighty fashion. That can't be overstated enough. That's incredible, bro. And you deserve gratitude and commendation for that. Lastly, I will say, I heard you and Freeze on YouTube the other day about our dear brother Philip's homegoing arrangements.
Yeah.
I will be in Vegas the middle of February, like the week of Valentine's Day. So if there's anything during that time, please let me know, because I will get suited and booted for the occasion and
that's what's
give
up.
that brother his, because I miss him. I never met him a day in my life, but just that familiarity, and he had a calling too in his own way, the way that he touched people, you know. So, yeah. But he, forgive me for saying, I believe he's a fruit from your tree, because he referenced you a lot.
Yeah,
you know, and I can say that having known you, hearing the things that he say, even if a lot of his audience didn't know where it came from.
Right.
I do.
That's right.
You know, but that's why you do what you do, to share that that light, you know, to awaken others, to inspire others. And he was so greatly gifted, he was able to receive it and then bring it back out in his own
That's
magnificent
what it's about.
manner of
That's what it's
expressing. That's
about.
right.
That's what it's
You know,
about.
that's what it's about. So
Yeah,
each one teach one, man. And
yeah.
you're doing an excellent job. So
I love you, Fareed, man.
continue.
You're always supportive. I love you, man. That ain't gonna never change for the day until I'm up out of here, baby. I love you forever. My
That
love.
means a lot, brother. And
Means
stay encouraged. And thank you for all you do, all you have been. And I'm always riding for you, brother.
I
You
love
know,
you,
I
man.
know the quality of your heart.
That's
You
what's up.
know, and when I see someone who's literally come up on the rough side of the mountain through the storm, and I know it's not always easy, but I all I can do is tip my hat to you, you know, and let you know you got my solidarity and love always.
That's
I'm out
great.
of here, good
Love you,
brother.
baby. Holla back. One.
Thank you.
Mr. O, what's up with it?
Hey, what's
Can't hear you.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
What's up, Dre?
How you doing?
Yeah, I found out about you back in 2009. I watched American 14, and you've been on my radar ever since. So it's good to speak to you face to face. Even now. So that was some years ago. But what I want to ask you is, how old were you? Your purpose in life, like what you wanted to do? Me, I'm making a good increases a few years ago. I'm not hurting for money, but now that I'm making a certain amount of money, I can buy it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not driven by pursuing that. I'm not sure I want to start a family either. You know what I'm saying? I have access to material things man wants. If I make a fist, it's mine. But that doesn't excite me. You know what I'm saying? I'm only 27, so I asked you. You're a lot older than me. How old were you when you found your purpose?
Man, I feel like I've been in my purpose since I was a young fella. I feel like my development, was from the time that my daddy was teaching me when I was a little shorty, and the purpose was to get the information. That was the purpose. The purpose was to get the information. What I did with it, what I did with the information, was on me. But the purpose was to get the information. There's nothing more important than getting the information. That was the purpose. If I would die and if I believed in reincarnation, I would want to come back to get the information first. That would be my purpose coming into the world. I got to get the information. I got to get the information. So that's the purpose, because there's nothing that I elevate more than that. The other things is what I do. My dad used to say, pimping is not what you do, it's who you are, right? So to me, the purpose of life was to get this information. Then the rest is just what you do. It's not who you are. It's just what you do. So you might want to, somebody might want to be a football player. Okay, somebody might want to be a basketball player. Somebody might want to be an actor, a singer. That's just what they do. But who are they? The purpose is to find out who you are. And that was my purpose, to get the information. I hope that helps.
I guess so. I mean,
see, I just want to, what I'm saying is that when you're saying what your purpose is something that you're elevating, that's something that's important for you to do, right? And I'm just saying to you that the purpose for every man should be to get the information, to know what it is being a man, right? To be a man, not to turn 18 to think you a man, but to be a man, getting the information of what manhood is about. A woman should get the information about what being a woman is about. That should be first priority. That should be elevated above everything. Because if you elevate something beyond that, you will go do something. Say a person went and he became an attorney. Say another person went and they became a singer, but they never became a man, which is why I said in American Pimp, my father told me, before you're anything, you got to be a man first. Do you understand? That's the consistency. I'm being very consistent to my belief system. So I've never elevated anything above manhood. So when you say what the purpose is manhood for me. Getting the information. That's the purpose. Because I don't care anything else you're doing. There's a whole bunch of people, like I said to one of the brothers earlier, you could be good at being a preacher. but bad at being a man. You could be good at being a Muslim, good at being a Christian, but bad at being a man. So that's the ultimate purpose, manhood.
Became good at being a man. You know, how do you know you've gotten there?
Because you got to get the information. Remember I said the purpose of getting the information that teaches you what a man is? So the purpose would be to get the information. Why people are in my classes Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's because they want the information about manhood to be empowered. They want the information about womanhood to be empowered, right? Because they now elevate that above anything else because they understand the necessity, how essential it is to have the information of womanhood and manhood, which is why I have Dub with me when I teach on YouTube so that people can get the perspective so that women that are on my channel can be taught by Dub of what it is to be a woman, what the information does to a woman. So that would be the ultimate objective.
And you're saying, so once I have that, then you're saying everything falls into place for me?
Once you have that, then it's just a matter of what you want to do. Or you just want to do this, you want to do that. But once you value the manhood, once a woman values the womanhood, that's something that they elevate above everything in this natural world, right? That is the ultimate goal. Because like I said, what it requires to be a singer is different. What it requires to be a football player is different. Because you can be all those things and still not be a man. You got what I'm saying? All right, then.
All right. Thank
Love,
you, my man. Thank you.
Thanks for something. Thank you. Okay, so I'm about to wrap it on up, guys. I've already put my Cash App in there if you guys want to be a blessing. Let me just say a couple more things before I go. DREPAYLOR. This is my Cash App if you guys want to be a blessing. Or if you want to just be a blessing through Super Chat, that's cool too. Thank you. All right. So let me just say, man, I'm glad that situation happened with the brother that came in and he had his ideas about this. Again, this is why I try to discourage you guys from. He said something that to me, this has nothing to do with me caring for the brother because I love that brother. I love all my people, right? And this has nothing to do with that. But to me, he said that there's nothing more important than wisdom. And that's problematic to me because that's a Eurocentric idea of value to me. To me, it is a Eurocentric idea of value, right? Like, and that's kind of problematic because the scripture says that wisdom is the principal thing. So get wisdom, but with all thy getting, get understanding, right? So you need to have some understanding, which is even more valuable than wisdom, right? So, because a lot of people are going to school to get educated so they could be wise, right? Go to Ivy League schools to get educated to be wise, and that's cool. But the scripture says that the wisdom of man is foolishness unto the Most High. And the beginning of knowledge, listen to what I'm saying. The beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. See, everything with the Most High is completely different than how man try to make you invest into certain things. It is about reverence of the Most High. It is about submission to the Most High. And all those things are recognizable to the Most High as wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? But it all is about how you submit, how you submit yourself, how you reverence the Most High. The beginning of knowledge, right? Somebody say, I'm going to get knowledge. Well, the beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. Everything is the very opposite of how man makes you think about things. And I've explained earlier, the more I've submitted, the more I've been able to get information from the Lord, the closer I've been to him, the more information and knowledge that he's given me, not just on one subject, but on many subjects. And brother said that, it's not one person. The Most High told me one time in a dream, he appeared to me and spoke to me. He says, I will no longer move throughout the earth, only through individual lives. I will no longer move throughout the earth, only through individual lives, right? So God is not waiting to move, even though he will move all of us, but he will all and have always used people, that he has chosen to make as examples to appeal to the people, right? So I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was like, God has approved me now to teach, to be in front of the people. And my life matches my words, and my words match my life. You feel me? That is the criteria for the Most High. My words match my life match my word. I don't care how brilliant you might sound. I don't care if you know the etymology of a certain word, and all that is unimpressive to me. What does your life look like? Does your words match your life? Does your life match your word? Because then that's the greatest reflection to me, right? You can be the wisest man in the world and the biggest dummy at the same time. The scripture says that folly sets in great dignity. People are so enraged and so ready to go. And I asked the one brother, I said, what have you done with your information? Well, I've helped people change people's life. Well, Christians have done that, and Muslims have done that, and Hare Krishnas, and everybody can influence somebody to change. I'm not asking in the capacity of what you've done. What have the Most High done in your life to confirm your truth? Right? What has he done to confirm your truth to the people? To the people, since you are delivering to the people. So I'm able to always bring before the people that I have the evidence of the Most High maneuvering and moving in mighty ways. He says to shake the world. Well, I've shaken the nation, and the Most High will continue to do so through my life as I submit every day. So don't get confused. Don't get caught up, right? The easiest way to go is to try to keep yourself submitted every day, to humble that flesh and submit that flesh, because that flesh wants to be alive. And the scripture plainly says that the carnal mind, this carnal mind, thinking carnally, fleshly, not spiritually, is not subject to the things of God, neither indeed can be. Right? So it's important that you submit yourself to the Most High so that he can fill you up with the things he wants you to have, and not what this nation have indoctrinated you to believe and to feel is important. At any rate, thank you guys for coming on again. I had no idea we would have been on here for almost 4 hours to Q&A Sundays. Thank you for all the people that contributed, that blessed. Thank you. I have class tomorrow at 7:00. The difference between the classes that we teach on YouTube is Dove and I teach the classes so that women and men can be a part of those classes. Women and men can be a part of any class that I teach, but the fact that Dove is there, being able to reflect from a woman's perspective the information. We do that Mondays and Fridays on YouTube at 7 p.m. West Coast time, Pacific Standard Time. I also do a class on Instagram on Wednesdays at the same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is a class that I teach all alone. I do something on OnlyFans, but I am transitioning out of OnlyFans to try to bring all my OnlyFans over to YouTube or Instagram. All right. I love you guys with all my heart. I mean that. I'm excited about all the things that the Most High is going to do for the remnant. All right. I love you. Thank you for being here. And for you that's in the class, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll put up the subject that we'll be talking about either later on tonight or tomorrow. It's going to be some fire. I love you. All right.